festive episode of The Bottom Shelf. I am joined by my very festive colleagues today. We have Craig.
Yes, you do. Hello.
We have Eric.
Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, good grief. And least but not least, we have Johan.
Humbug.
Yeah, that's the spirit.
Speaking
of the spirit.
I was going to do a ho ho ho, but Eric did.
Oh, it stole your festive thing. Oh, that's terrible. Speaking of trying to steal festive things, today's series we are discussing the much beloved and excellent series all the way throughout, Home Alone's 1 through 6. So we've sat down, we have watched every single one of these. That's been an experience for all of us. And we're going to sit down and sort of talk about our experience with the movies, what we knew beforehand, what we didn't know going in, and what we learned going out of it, which I imagine won't be very much, to be honest.
We've all grown as people.
Oh yeah, I've shrunk as a person, I think, watching these movies, but that's neither here nor there. So, Home Alone as a franchise. I'm guessing that we're all in the same wavelength in regards to what we have and haven't seen before going into this little journey of ours. I'm guessing it's just 1 and 2 we've all seen.
It was only very recently I even knew there was more than 3 films. They really flew under the radar, those later ones.
I saw the third one
reason.
when it was new.
Yeah, I did the same.
Oh, you've seen 3 as well? Oh, I didn't even see anything beyond the first 2. I think I left it at that point.
I was aware of 3, but I never felt the need to watch it.
I think I've known of them all. I'm not watching that pile of shit. Why? And then, lo and behold, years later, here I am recording a fucking podcast on it. So what do I know?
Judging a film by its cover, unbelievable.
I'm fairly sure
I will do so,
it.
and I will do it again.
We rented on VHS.
VHS? What? Oh, God, sorry, I'm too young to understand what that is.
Of course.
No, you're not.
I believe we watched the third one. It's like one of those movies we watched at like school, like one of those like, hey, today let's watch the movie.
I don't feel like teaching today.
Excellent.
So.
Teacher's got a hangover.
Free punishment.
Merry Christmas and whatever.
That's cruel, but that's fair enough. Right, so we all know the basic Home Alone premise, what it is, what it's about. All the movies follow the same template, some more so than others that we'll discuss a bit later on. So, let's just jump right in. We've got a lot of films to go through. Let's just crack on with it with the beloved 99 hit Home Alone.
It's good.
Yes.
It's good.
Just some quick facts. Film had an $18 million budget. Grossed $476 million in the box office. So
that's a success.
Pretty good. Metacritic score 63, Rotten Tomatoes 67.
It's on the lower end.
I thought it'd be higher, frankly, but there we are. So, Home Alone, you've got the Chris Columbus directors it, you've got John Hughes writing it, and John Williams doing the score, which might be the perfect trilogy of any filmmakers ever, as far as I'm concerned. The Columbus-Hughes-Williams combination.
Yeah, it's very
the festive Avengers.
Yeah, John Williams got an Academy Award nomination for his score, well deserved. Can't really argue with that. The score is phenomenal.
It's so good.
Since.
It's so good. He gets snubbed by himself at the Oscar.
He does that. I mean, it's very much. It sounds very John Williams. So that makes any sense. He's got a certain kind of like sound to him, and it's like, yeah, that's John Williams, or someone trying to fake to be John Williams. But it's definitely his work, and it's phenomenal throughout.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah, so I'll kind of cover a basic bit of the basic kind of what it is. So it's a family kind of festive comedy action, I guess you can call it.
Slapstick humor, yes.
Yeah, it's sort of like a slapsticky, actiony, comedy, festive-y, Christmassy movie
genre.
So,
bit of mild drama as well, you might say.
So, the back of the box description would be, family goes on holiday, a kid gets left behind for reasons that we'll get into in more detail in a bit. Bad guys come, kid fends them off and saves the day. That's the sort of the boilerplate version of that. So we'll go into more detail and sort of break down what our thoughts are. So first things first, Macaulay Culkin as Kevin McAllister. I think he made me one of the best child actors of all time.
It's a very iconic role and a very iconic performance. He does very well in this role and just delivers all his lines with a perfect cadence and perfect delivery, really.
Because child actors can be very annoying, and as we'll find out later on during the series, they can get very, very annoying. But I think he actually pulls off that sort of that snarky but actually still quite likable balancing act quite well.
Is he as good as Jake Lloyd?
No, because Jake Lloyd.
I mean, given what he had to work with a George Lucas script, to be fair, and that's always a bad thing to try and do for anyone, to be honest. So I can't blame him more than blame George Lucas for that one, to be honest.
If only John Hughes wrote those films.
Macaulay's done a pretty good job. And 1 and 2, to be fair, he does a pretty good job of managing to be likable whilst also being a little bit of a smart aleck at the same time, which can come off as quite grating for a lot of other people, I think. But I think Kevin pulls it off. Oh, Macaulay, sorry, same actor, character. Pulls it off perfectly.
Yeah, it basically stands a contrast with the rest of his family. He gets away with being a smart. He gets away with being a smart character. He gets away to being a smart aleck because the rest of his family is kind of terrible in a lot of ways.
They are the worst family in America. They are all horrible, horrible people. I was getting rooting against them at some point to get robbed. I was like, yeah, take the money. They don't need it, obviously.
That seems to be and we'll talk about it later, but the families in all the films seem to be
just the worst.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, they're absolutely horrendous. But I will say that the cast of the family is really, really good. There's a lot of quality names in there. Catherine O'Hara's there. You've got John Hurd. You've got all the kids, but I can't remember who plays them, but they all do a really good job of playing kind of like irritating siblings.
There's a Kieran Culkin.
Kieran Culkin, yes, who looks very much like... Yeah, you can tell it's him from a glance. It's like he's a Culkin, all right. You can just tell he's got that sort of look in his eyes. Is that a good or a bad thing? You decide. But yeah, they're all really, really good. They do a good job. There's no one that sort of stands out as like, you're a child actor, you're not very good at this. They all seem to actually carry it off pretty well. Yes. And then you've got, of course, probably the main selling points of the movie. You've got the villains. You've got the brilliant Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern.
Well, what a great casting choice those two are.
Joe Pesci, and this was the same year that Goodfellas came out. You won the Academy Award for doing Goodfellas. So you did that and this in the same year, which is quite a tonal shift, I think.
And it both is and isn't, because he delivers both with the same sort of attitude and
it's a Joe Pesci attitude.
I want to see it has to be Tommy from Goodfellas and Home Alone. That'd be great.
His reined in as a more PG Joe Pesci, but it's still in there.
Yeah,
the madness still reigns within. But yeah, I don't know how much they paid him to do this role. It wasn't enough, frankly. I think he's probably the best part of the movie, him and Daniel Stern.
Oh, yeah. I would say so.
They got such a chemistry about them. They just seem to really bounce off each other quite well. All the lines and the witty back and forwards really work for me. It can be hard to pull off a double act quite that well, but they seem to really be on the same wavelength, and it works for me. It might be the best movie part, to be honest, is watching them kind of just talk and get the shit get out of them. It's phenomenal.
Yes. It really is.
So, that's just sort of the basic kind of characters done. So the family is going on a holiday for Christmas time. They're going to Florida, I believe.
Florida.
No, the first one is France. The first one is France.
Yeah, sorry, man. I'm getting all the fucking same movie, to be honest. So they're going to France. They have a few problems in the morning getting up, and they're running late, and for reasons that remain kind of bizarre and unheard of, they leave a child behind, which is phenomenal.
It's a lot of little mistakes.
He's sent to the attic for like a grounding, and then they forget to check the attic that he's still in there, and they take some other random kid and count him as being in the car instead.
Can I say, by the way, the counting thing, it's a well-known thing, but I finally recognize the thing that she counts herself as well twice. It's an editing fuck up.
I didn't clock that.
No, she goes like 1, 2, and then she does herself 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then she does herself again. Like, it's probably an edit.
Why would you have one person be in charge of head count for a party that big? That's just asking for trouble immediately.
She does count the amount correct, but the edit makes it look like she counts herself twice as well.
And you have all the time, but presumably in the van, then going through airport security checking on the plane, and no points thinking, "Where's Kevin?"
There's additional.
I know they're in a hurry, but at some point you think someone will clock on.
There's
they clock on when they're in the air, which is kind of clever.
So
you think of this before that, realistically.
The thing is that they're an odd number of family members, so they just assume that Kevin is in the other car the entire time.
Yeah, well, and also they get to sit in first class while the kids sit in the coach at the back. That's a bit of a dick move, not gonna lie.
That adds into the parents not being the best.
They are horrendous.
Yeah, there's also a little detail that they, during the scene where Kevin accidentally causes a mess during pizza dinner, they accidentally throw away his boarding pass.
Boarding pass and the passport, I think.
It's a sequence of very unfortunate events, like with the alarm clock have a built-in battery and the alarm clock, like most alarm clocks do these days.
Nope. Like a PG Final Destination. Only no one dies.
A lot of these films kind of revolve around people just being really incompetent a lot of the time in several different situations to have things pan out the way they pan out, and it's a complete fluke. But it's but yeah, that plays out. They find out halfway through the Atlantic that Kevin is actually still at home, which is fantastic. Kevin wakes up and thinks that I made my parents disappear, like I'm some sort of weird mage who can make people disappear in thin air.
Childlike wonder.
Like that one episode in Twilight Zone.
Just like that, exactly. So he does the thing that all kids would do. They bounce on the bed, eat junk food, and pig out all day, which is, I do that now, frankly, and it's still great.
It's the most relatable character, even now.
He's just like me, for real.
If only.
Going through his brother's stuff, looking at pictures of Buzz's girlfriend, which he says woof to, by the way, which I found quite disrespectful, but fair enough.
Does he go through any of the other siblings' rooms?
No, just the ones that he hates, I think.
He just hates Buzz's guts.
By the way, do you know the thing about Buzz's girlfriend, the picture?
Whoa.
Yeah.
No.
Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it because they were supposed to have, like, a girl, but then it was like, oh, it'll be just too mean, and then they ended up putting the Buzz actor in like a wig.
Either Buzz's actor or someone else. Yes.
I think the story is that it's Buzz. It's Buzz with a wig. Like
so that's why he said woof. And I felt bad for her. Okay, that makes more sense now. I feel much better now.
I think I remember saying like oh, we didn't want to be that mean to some poor girl.
But not mean enough to still have the joke in the film.
Yeah.
Well,
you got to think it's a funny line. You got to keep the funny lines in. So Kevin's enjoying his freedom, runs outside and runs into a creepy old next door murderer man.
Very creepy next door murderer man.
It was...
Yeah, he just gives him these like this death glare and just kind of eyeballs him.
During the entire movie.
For no reason.
Yeah. When you see it when he walks into that convenience store, his boot's got like all springs and shit stuck on it. It looks metal as fuck.
No, he's just like giving them the biggest death glare I've seen anyone give anyone in my life. He's tried to kill him with his eyes for no reason whatsoever. It's hilarious. It looks like he just hates kids.
It just looks like the Undertaker's dad from WWE.
The Overtaker.
Yeah.
So then in come into the equation come Harry and Marv. They're doing the patrol. They had Joe Pesci had the little cop cameo earlier on, trying to scope the house to see when they were leaving and stuff like that.
The least convincing cop. You don't trust that guy to be a cop.
No, he's a good fella.
I think we see worse cops in the movies later on that we'll discuss in a bit of detail. But yeah, I think as Joe Pesci goes, I could buy him being a cop, to be honest. Not knowing what I know in the future, I could easily buy that.
That's a film we never got.
Joe Pesci is a cop.
Cop Pesci.
That must be a thing. Surely it's going to be a Joe Pesci cop movie somewhere, like a buddy cop movie.
Maybe a dirty cop?
There's still time. Get Joe Pesci on the phone.
Does Lethal Weapon count? He was an informant.
He's not a cop in that. That's the opposite of being a cop. That's being a rat.
With the cop.
Badly.
Oh, please, Jesus.
They succeed in that film despite of Pesci.
So Kevin eventually clocks the fact that these two guys are trying to steal his stuff and starts pulling some little early pranks in to try and snake them off. We have the video sequence with the what's the film called?
The Angels
Dirty Souls.
Filthy Souls.
It should be a recurring trope in the movies down the line, but yeah, they did a bit of masterful manipulation there. So that Kevin is a bit of an evil genius.
Is that your favourite fake film in a film, or some better one?
It's very, very high up there.
It's
That's a hell of a question.
It has to be top 5 at least.
I couldn't name 2 at the top of my head. You've asked me that now, so fake movies within movies.
I was looking it up earlier.
Apart from Machete Kills Again in Space.
I actually thought about Machete, but then they actually made it. So,
well, not in space. That one's still TBC for now.
Did you say what about like everything in Grindhouse?
Yeah, basically every trailer in Grindhouse.
No, of course, no. We've got Machete exists now. Hopefully the Shotgun exists. So yeah.
Not this.
The other ones are kind of. And then there's no Nicolas Cage Fu Manchu movie yet.
And then soon we'll have Angels with Filthy Souls exist.
Finally. I mean, that should be a thing over Home Alone 4. Let's make that a movie instead. The actual Angel Dirty Souls. That'd be a much better.
Arnold Schwarzenegger as Hamlet in Last Action Hero.
That's very good.
Okay. Yeah, I think that might have won the conversation. I can't really argue with that. Fair enough. So Kevin manages to get them off the first time round and realizes that this is going to be a recurring thing for him. So he's trying to build elaborate ways of making them think that his parents are in, and if that fails, having the house be defended by putting in some horrific death traps to save himself in the interim. So he goes to Santa Claus for advice first and foremost. Good start.
Fun little scene. This.
He gives some random guy his home address, which is I'm not too fond of, to be honest, but that's fine. Then he goes to church and meets up with creepy old murder man again, and Jesus, of course, same thing. Maybe it's Jesus, who knows? They have this really touching heart-to-heart, which kind of comes out of nowhere, but I'm all for it, frankly.
Yeah,
we get some old man kind of plot dumping.
Because these first few movies are all about. Listen, it's a Christmas movie, but more like a family movie, really, and it really drives on the theme of like finding your family and accepting your family and all that.
In the true festive fashion, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
As the theme of being really trusting to strangers.
They have to bulk up the old man's subplot. Apparently it wasn't that well written, the subplot for the old man. Apparently it was added into the script later on by Columbus. He did an uncredited rewrite to add in the old man character later on.
Because he was just a hobo that walked onto set.
Yeah, like, yeah, you look good, you're the murderess. Have this shovel and just kind of do as you please. So he gets his little advice, has the heart-to-heart with the old man, then comes back to break out his little kind of crudely drawn crayon blueprint.
You actually missed one thing. After he goes out, they play the best song in the movie. After he goes out from the
yeah, I know the one.
Setting up the trap, setting the trap. It's the best song.
Music.
Yeah, the montage music.
That comes back in 5. I believe it comes back for a reprieve temporarily. I think
it's 6.
That's 6. Was it 6?
5 or 6.
John Williams comes up with the best music to have a montage to setting up a bunch of booby traps in an expensive house. It's a very
10-year-old kid just trying to make murder traps.
There isn't too many musical pieces that can do that.
There's also another side plot. The whole thing with the family, with the mother, Catherine O'Hara, actually trying to get back to Chicago in order.
Yeah, I guess there's that. I suppose. Yeah, so she has a hell of a time trying to get back from Paris because it's in another country and it's Christmas time and there's no short-term flight. So she has to basically beg, borrow, and steal. She's giving away her watch and stuff and begging strangers to get plane flights and stuff like that. It's hilarious.
I'll buy my way back to America.
And who comes to the rescue? If not John Candy.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, God. Would I get into a van with John Candy?
Yes.
Have actually heard how much.
That's where you're going wrong, Johan.
Have you actually heard about the situation of John Candy getting his role and such? Because he
on set one day and was like, yeah.
So John Hughes really wanted John Candy for the movie, but John Candy was basically full booked. They had one day, and he shot all these scenes in a span of 23 hours.
Well, was he doing another film?
John Candy is fool. I'm sorry.
And he got paid $400 for the entirety of the role.
I mean, he has 7 or 8 lines. We talked about polka for a long, long time.
I feel like that's ad-libbed, by the way. His entire. Did you hear about us? We were big in the 70s.
Yeah, because I believe Catherine O'Hara is also from the same acting alumni and such, so she's familiar with that style.
I think I've seen John Candy in one movie, and it's Home Alone.
What?
Whoa, it was in The Rescuers too.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
How did you forget that one?
Yeah.
John Candy is one of the biggest things of the 80s.
Yeah, he really is.
Have you not seen Cool Runnings?
Have you not seen Canadian Bacon?
No. Have you not seen Uncle Buck?
It's the only thing that I've seen. I thought that was quite emphatic when I said that. Have you seen X sort of negates the question, doesn't it?
How? You just forgot he was in it or something.
Well, no, it's pretty distinctive. He's not inconspicuous, John Candy, is he? Fucking hell.
You've never seen
a heist movie.
Don't you dare ask me the question, have you seen X? I'm going to throw something at you.
The Great Outdoors.
No, I haven't seen it. I've only seen one John Candy movie.
Well, that's what we're doing tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Fuck off.
What the fuck is this?
No, there's so many with what's his name, Bill Murray with John Candy as well. Or at least 2. What I'm thinking of.
At least 2.
So
that's
at
so
least
many.
2.
I love the twist with the trying to get back home that happens at the end that I'll discuss later on near the movie's end. But she ends up in the back of a truck full of polka players driving from wherever they are, Tulsa or something like that.
No, Milwaukee.
I thought it was Scranton.
I thought they're going to Milwaukee.
It's Scranton to Illinois they're going to. So there's
somewhere.
I'm guessing that's a pretty long journey.
Why am I thinking Milwaukee? Milwaukee's next to Chicago? Wait, what?
They're going to Milwaukee, and they'll drop her off.
Yeah, they're on the way to Milwaukee, and they go like past to drop her off at Illinois. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah,
these are
Chicago.
all made up names.
There's no such place as Chicago.
There's no such thing as America.
It's a myth. So while they're en route via polka van back home, Kevin's setting his murder house to just absolutely ruin some lives. And this is where the movie really kicks off as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
We had the bit of the appetizers. This is the main course right here.
Well,
this is what you've come to see.
This is the part of the film that set the trend of the 90s for every other film to follow.
Trailer-wise,
maybe some of the
at
best
least.
slapstick put on movie for a while. The slapstick here is superb. It actually really hurts to look at, and the sound design's really good, and it's all. It feels like you actually wince in your seat, like it's Jackass basically. It's like no,
I feel
can't
like
do that.
The one the nail trap is the worst one of all the movies.
Talking about the feet.
Yeah, it's
anything with feet.
There's a couple of really bad ones. There's the red hot door handle, which don't like that.
Treading
that
on
becomes,
Christmas,
that becomes a thing.
Christmas ornaments as well.
Like a Home Alone 2 carries that
feet.
on as well. There's a lot of feet damage in this movie, I've noticed.
Quentin!
No, he worships feet, not hurts them.
In terms of kind of ranking how many times that they would be dead over
I
I
hate the paint cans to the head.
I was going to say, paint cans, that'll be a fatal blow, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that'll kill you.
Depends on how much paint
or
there's
at least
in.
you'd be like on life support or something.
Well, you would probably, because they fly.
Your caved-in nose would be inside your bone cavity.
Besides that, how high up? They're like fairly high up on the stairs as well when that happens.
Yeah, that would Voldemort you. You have no nose left. It'd be flattened. You'd be a pancake at that point. So yeah, that's brutal. You've got the baubles on the feet, which the noise they make is just like pop, and it's like no, I don't like that. No, sorry.
They skid downstairs.
Yeah, a lot of slipping going on. I'm fine with that. We have
torch on the
heads
head.
being caught on fire. That's a recurring theme, as it turns out. Apparently, who knew? A lot of falling over, a lot of tripwires going around.
Tarantula.
The tarantula is probably my favorite part. Actually, it's when he puts it on Harry's
tarantula
belly,
ex
and then
machina.
Marv just tries to just destroy it, and this wrecks him at the same time.
Doesn't he use the BB gun early on as well to shoot him in the crotch?
Yeah.
And the face.
That hurts as well. It's more the face one that hurts. It's the noise it makes. That's sort of that pop it makes.
So apparently Daniel Stern was actually terrified of spiders. And they tried to use like a prop spider, but it didn't look right. So he actually agreed to do like the real tarantula on the face. But they had to.
It might be one of the best film screams ever.
That was ADR'd in because he didn't want to freak out the. He didn't want to freak out the spiders. That was actually dubbed over later.
Eric, do you know what I thought you were going to say for a second? He's terrified of. I thought you were going to say he's terrified of Macaulay Culkin.
I mean, that would make sense.
Aren't we all, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that scream is just, it resonates. I can feel it in my bones still. It's fantastic. But eventually he gets outsmarted though, and he gets caught by the white bandits and taken back to the house that they had actually robbed and flooded earlier on.
That was a detail I never caught earlier, because I thought like that was something Kevin did to catch them. It was to flood the basement there. But then I realized, no, that's the vet bandits.
It's a different house.
Yeah.
It's their trope. Yeah, they might have to rob the house next door, and no one's had to caught the flood after like a day of it constantly going on. It's just been flooding for all night.
Their water bill's going to be immense.
I just thought that Ken McAllister was an asshole and flooded the neighbor's house just like a trap.
No one's clocked the fact the house has been flooding for quite a while since that happened. It's been sitting there slowly building up ever since.
It's like the one street in Chicago where everyone's gone on holiday at the same time.
Have you heard about the theory of that street exists in the same universe as Friends? I think it's Friends, or was it How I Met Your Mother? Because I think
in New York.
What sort of fun theory is this?
No, it's one episode. I think it's Friends or How I Met Your Mother. They're buying a house or looking at an open house, and the background, the photo, like it's supposed to be the background. They're looking out the window. Is that street? And I think you see that house in the background.
Well, that's it then. It's canon.
Fiction.
Yeah, it's set in the same street, basically. The street's canon, apparently. That's good to know. It's not like a fake sound set street. That's always good to know. So yeah, but he's caught by the wet bandits. He's put into the house, and they threaten to bite his fingers off, which is a bit creepy.
Joe Pesci actually played a bit Macaulay Culkin's
I read that before. Yeah, that's fucked up.
He got really
method
into
actors.
Yeah.
Method actors. You can't trust them at all. And then creepy old man Ex Machina appears out of nowhere and just knocks them out.
Yeah.
I don't know how he knows they're in there, unless he lives in that house. There's no reason to believe that they're actually in there. Is there a sign posted that he knows where they are? That is a thing that just appears out of nowhere. Like he's fucking Batman.
No, he's creepy. He just looks.
Always staring with the eyes.
Unless he followed him from the church and thought, "Oh, he's doing some shit in that house."
How would he possibly know?
Damn, I gotta look at this.
So yeah, he's there. It's always great. I love the fact that
walking by that house.
They survived getting paint cans in the face, but a snowplow bonk finished them off.
But they're already so hurt, so they're 5 seconds before dying. So it's like
of course, when the staggered health, like the flashing health stage of a fighting game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough. And that's it. And then he's saved. The day's been saved, and then his mother appears back in the house, and it's finally appeared 5 minutes later by taking the plane.
I like by the way that you say appear. I'm now picturing her just appearing out of thin air. She just shows up.
Yeah, there's this fact she went for all that trouble and selling off her watches and begging people and sharing a fucking polka van with John Candy to get there 5 minutes prior to what the flight would have been in the first place. It's a complete waste of her time. But to be fair, it was deserved because she left him behind and it's her fault. I mean, it's all their fault. It's dad's fault as well, to be honest. I wonder, does Kevin ever tell the family that he was almost murdered in the house? Or just let that fact slide?
I think they said something like, "What have you been up to?" It's like, "Oh, I've just been, doing stuff." Never actually mentions the burglars. Which you think
comes at home and it's like the house has got like a really slippery opening landing and the door's red hot and burns her hand trying to get in the front door again.
I mean,
takes a paint can to the face.
Home Alone 4 may have a.
I forgot about the third one.
A few things to say about that.
Yeah, there's this fact that she hasn't really clocked the fact that the house is completely
You think even in I don't know, the local news, "Oh, wet bandits followed by 10-year-olds." Like, wait a minute, is that Kevin?
Kevin, why is the house covered in tar? Why is there a nail in here? That could be dangerous.
Remember, they got caught in the neighbor's house. They don't know Kevin was involved.
But the house would give it away. It's covered in fucking broken bubbles and like paint cans tied to strings.
When the police have taken a statement of what was going on.
Kevin cleaned up.
Cleaned up.
Oh, by the way, I was gonna say as well for the red-haired brother. Do you know who he was?
Rupert Grint.
He's even born at that point, I'm pretty sure.
He was
quick name, red-headed actor.
He was in The Adventures of Pete and Pete, which was a Nickelodeon show in the 90s as well.
I heard about that show.
I have no idea what that is. I'll take your word for it.
And also the guy who plays the guy who owns the trash yard or whatever in Breaking Bad. He was a cop in this movie.
Oh yeah, he was like the family counselor cop that they call. Yeah, that guy.
So yeah. In the film ends, you got the old man subplot pays off where his family get reunited and he thanks Kevin through the window, which might be the most emotional subplot of the entire movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know why the actual plot of the mum being sad that it doesn't really resonate because it's her fault.
It's
know that you've got hurt feelings, but you've put him in. This is your fault. This is what he's.
It's almost like she was doing it out of guilt more than actually because she cares.
Oh, it completely is guilt. She's racked with it.
She's doing it with trying to get back for the wrong reasons, almost.
So it was nice seeing them back together, but I was like, yeah, but it's sort of. I don't really feel that happy for you because you're terrible.
They won't do it next. They won't do it next year, don't we?
Oh no, not at all. Speaking of which, yeah, so that's Home Alone 1. What we'll do is that we'll come back around at the end and sort of give us a ranking of how we think each one sort of is in a hierarchy. I can imagine we'll all agree on where number 1 is, but we'll see how that plays out later on. Stone Dead last, by the way. Spoilers. So, yeah, that came out and went, was a rousing success in the box office, made up $500 million almost. Festive tradition, everyone loves it, so of course, sequels are always on the horizon. And they took a grand total of 2 years. Then we got Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
I wonder where this one's at.
So yeah, this came out in a bit later on. Higher budget, budget of $28 million. Didn't gross as much. It was a $359 million. Still quite a lot from like the budget to box office standpoint. So it's still pretty nice profit. Metacritic 46, Rotten Tomatoes 35, which is a little bit worse than the first one. Not by much though. So first things first, we had the Columbus Hughes Williams trifecta return. Yay. Thank God, frankly, because we need them all back.
Pretty much all of the cast as well, more or less. At least the ones that were in the first main one.
I was going to say, so Macaulay Culkin managed to get an absolute steal for this. He managed to negotiate 5% of the film's gross for return to the movie.
Oh, sneaky.
Ooh.
Sneaky scoundrel.
$4.5 million, so it's $4.5 million and the gross revenue for the policy as well. That's a lot of money. 4.5 mil plus 5% of the gross. That's $359 million. That's gonna come to 15 million, something like that. That's a lot of money for a kid that's like 12.
Well, he needed that money a couple of years later when he got a drug problem. So no,
that's what's all gone probably up his nose. That's really sad. He's reformed now. It's all good. We've all got a redemption arc.
Then we can have Home Alone 7.
His redemption arc.
Seasoned for forgiving.
His redemption arc because he was on Red Letter Media. That is his redemption arc.
So for the plot of Home Alone 2, just see Home Alone 1 again. It's the exact same plot, more or less.
It is.
But in New York.
No, it's in New York.
So Home Alone 3.
Hey, I'm New York over here.
I'm New York.
So yeah, so the film plays it almost the exact same way. Silly things happen. Alarm clocks get turned off. They run late again. He's got one of those odd like talk boy things everyone had wanted growing up. Those like audio 90s. Recorder things that are like they're really cool for like a year back in 1992.
That was apparently invented for the movie, and there was such a demand that I believe.
I thought it was real.
They made up for the movie, and then the actual
they made it real.
Yeah, they made
Home
it real.
Alone made it real. Finally. So yeah, you got one of those things, and also, that becomes a big.
I gotta say. Like the first movie really wrote a lot of small stuff to make it seem believable that they left this kid behind. This time they only had one alarm clock that was unplugged. That the entire family, the entire house had one alarm clock.
It's a trash family.
They are the worst. So that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, but I won't think they were stupid.
This time it's his fault. By the way, this time it's his fault. He couldn't wait until getting on the plane to check those batteries.
The fact they were running there in the first place was the parents' fault.
True, but if he could have waited like 5 minutes to get those batteries, then he wouldn't have lost his dad, and then he would have.
I think you can blame both can be blamed for the fair share. I think in the second movie, but yeah, he's just top boy, runs out of batteries. He wants batteries immediately for the airport for reasons that I don't quite want to understand. He gets them out the bag. He's chasing after his parents. He stops to get the batteries back in. Turns up there's another man wearing the exact same coat running the different direction to his parents. He follows him.
Unfortunate.
Then follows the most bizarre sequence of events ever, where he runs into the plane ticket lady. They all fall on the ground, and she just goes, "Oh, in you go, it's fine."
You don't have a ticket. You can come aboard. It was the 90s.
No, you had the
good old pre-9/11 days, right? You could just do that. Just wave him on the plane. Yeah, it's fine. What are you gonna do about it, right?
Can I do it the next time? Like, they're taking the tickets. They've got them in their hand. Can I
just rugby tackle the attendant there?
You would be shot doing that.
No, Craig, not rugby tackle. I'll just go up to them and push their hands so they throw up all the tickets in the air, and then I'll throw mine in between.
Such a joker.
You just say, "Oh, my dad's on this plane. It's cool." Then that's pretty much it.
Firstly, I'm a 33-year-old man.
Make sure you locate your dad before you sit down.
He's the pilot. It's fine.
I'm a 33-year-old man, and my dad's been dead for 10 years. My dad's still on board though.
He's in the sky.
So yeah, so he follows
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so he follows his dad's jacket to New York. Is the summary of this movie?
It's someone else's jacket that looks like his dad.
Yeah, his dad's style of jacket to New York, and then he ends up in New York, and it all just goes kind of tits up from there, really.
And then he goes and meets Tim Curry.
This time they actually find out that Kevin's gone later than before. They actually get to Florida before they realise that Kevin's not there, rather than finding out on the flight.
They knew he was at the airport at least, so at that point they think, "Oh, we're home free now. We got past the hard part."
They nailed it this time.
They're learning.
Did they fly first class again for Home Alone 2 and leave the other one else in coach?
Yes.
I think
hate them. I hate them all.
They arrived so late that they just had to pick random seasons of what I think happened.
Yeah, but they had the fancy seats
first. Yeah, I wish nothing but the worst for them. It's just terrible people. So Kevin gets to New York with his dad's credit card in tow and his bag full of batteries, which is always a handy thing to do, because he can just go and splash the cash wherever he wants to. And he ends up in Trump Plaza. Plaza, sorry. I forget I said Trump.
Well, it was Trump's Plaza at the time.
Yeah, hence why his little cameo is there.
Did you notice that little weird...
That's the single kindest thing Donald Trump's ever done for anyone.
His like
directions to the lobby.
His double take.
I thought they might blur him out for this movie. I thought they might get rid of him for the cut. No, I actually thought they'd remove that scene.
Release the Trump cut.
I had legitimate concerns they would remove that scene because it's Donald Trump.
Can I ask, the double take after he says, like, oh, you turn left and then whatever, the double take he does when he looks at him, it's really creepy. When he, like, Kevin walks away.
He's like, are you my son?
He was like, I need to get my 5 seconds of, like, my face on the screen. It's such a weird, like, look he makes to the kid.
The Apprentice, new season, out next year, phenomenal. Please watch. Thank you.
Before he gets to the plaza, there's a scene where Kevin like roams New York and such, and there's one scene like from the top of the World Trade Center where he's basically.
Is that what they were?
I was going to say that, Eric, as well. That's the
weird
most
towers in my movie.
That's the most unbelievable, like, fakest thing ever. He's alone up there. There's no tourists. There's nothing.
It was a quiet day.
They let the kid up on the roof unsupervised.
Well, he didn't jump, did he? It's fine.
No, but I mean, the most, like... Okay, I can believe a kid getting on a plane alone, the thieves and everything. That's the most, like, thing I can't believe is real.
You can buy the plane alone thing, but you can't buy the tourist destination spot alone.
No, not during Christmas, that he will be alone up. And the other tower is empty as well. There's no one up on the other tower either.
Were you even allowed to go up there? Maybe he snuck up there.
But Kevin has got that silver tongue, though. He can just get into anything. Like getting into the hotel and managing to get a room booked out under his dad's credit card by just kind of just cheesing his way through with like speech checks.
He might be like one of the smartest kids in cinema. It's things he gets away with.
Yeah, he thinks he's smart and he's right, and that's
he's
the
like
annoying
Liam
thing.
Neeson in Taken.
This is Peter
he just knows what to say.
Father.
He's always thinking ahead.
He'll talk down to adults even though they're actually in the right, and make them think they're wrong by gaslighting them. It's very, very impressive.
Yeah.
So he manages to secure the fanciest room in the hotel because he hates his parents. So he spends thousands getting this really lucrative hotel room.
I don't know. Kids don't know how credit cards work.
They know how money works. They aren't stupid.
Oh, by the way,
how currency works.
I love it as well. You can see how dated this is because of the old way of like charging the credit card with the old copy paper, like the machine.
It all looks old.
Yeah,
the hotel looks terrible. I thought of that 90s like
gaudy shit.
Yeah, it's gaudy as hell. Now this is a Trump place. You can definitely tell it's Trump's hotel.
Well, to be fair, the McAllister like house is pretty gaudy as well. It was a gaudy time.
I was just gonna say as well. Craig, I love looking at that house. Every time I look at from the inner screen, like anything from that house, I was like, I want this house.
In the first film where he's having that microwave, they use it like golden cutlery.
Yeah, did they ever say what they actually do for a living?
Drugs.
Embezzle.
Yeah, drugs.
A bit of embezzling, of course.
So I believe the mother is like a designer, which is why he has all the mannequins during that scene where he tries to...
I was going to say, there's a lot of mannequins in that house. It really freaked me out for a while.
Eric, I think it's easier to say they're all perverts and they do creepy things with the puppets, I was going to say.
Why not both?
I'm just gonna say that given how rich the whole family seems to be, they could have gotten away with getting robbed at Christmas. They probably have insurance.
I don't think they're that bothered, frankly. But yeah,
Robin Hood,
stubbornness. I'm going to show off what's going on. Oh, I didn't mention actually before the hotel sequence, he goes through Central Park and meets a crazy bird lady for the first time.
Yeah.
Piers Morgan.
We need to have untrust. Creepy strange of the film.
Yeah, at this point you start to realize there's very similar beats to the first film. And it's like, oh wait, this can be the same thing where she's not after that bad, it turns out, and they have a heart-to-heart moment. But no, it won't be that. That's too obvious. As it turns out, that's not the case. The one thing this film has got over one is that you have the appearance of Tim Curry, which
and Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider is the best.
My notes here say Tim Curry, yay, Rob Schneider, boo.
I never thought I'd see those two in the same scene, but here we are.
No, I wish I hadn't, frankly. But yeah, so Tim Curry's there, and he's phenomenal.
I feel like there's one way to describe Tim Curry in this movie, that he's basically a human cartoon, and that's the best compliment that I can give him. He is perfect in this movie.
You do like a slow fade of like the Grinch turning into Tim Curry's smiling face at one point, and it's like, it's the perfect transition to any scene, I think, ever.
Well, hang that scene in the Louvre.
It's beautiful. And Rob Schneider's there's the snooty concierge.
It's very tame, Rob Schneider. It doesn't actually. He just doesn't really. Do
what's
muddled?
What's that line? Is like, what does the mum say? Like, what kind of idiots have you got working at the finest in New York?
Yes, and it is true. They are really stupid because they fall for like Kevin's tricks again.
Kevin
really
must
obvious
it just has this like aura around him. It just makes people dumb around him.
From what I've heard, there's a Tim Curry Home Alone 2 audiobook you can get somewhere floating around.
Ooh. Oh my!
But which I need to find.
So he meets the bandits.
That sounds phenomenal. Oh, that's a bit later on, I think, isn't it? After they find out about the credit cards and stuff being nicked. So he's in the hotel. He's picking out room service, ice cream, the whole shebang. I'm trying to think. Did them finding out the car was stolen happen before or after Marvin, Harry making appearance?
I believe they established Marvin Harry.
They appear. They appear before, but they haven't. I think they've run into Kevin just before that happens.
They haven't found him yet.
It's basically them doing other things, like without knowing each other.
We need to set up the reason why they're gonna be bad in New York, I guess.
Okay, that cool trick with them, the shower sequence trying to freak out Tim Curry from finding out that his dad's not actually there, playing back his uncle's
by the way,
recording. That's phenomenal.
Okay, so this time he doesn't have cutouts or mannequins, but he's got a creepy, full-sized clown doll. What is that?
Clown.
Inflatable.
I never called that clown making a comeback in the plot. When you mentioned that before, I thought that's a silly thing to bring with you, and then they actually brought it back into the plot.
But it's such a weird item. I thought, like, because in the beginning she said, look, it's an inflatable thing to have in the pool. Why is it a full-size adult? What is it?
It's convenient for the plot, that's why.
It's such
I've never seen that in the pool.
So yeah, it's more of Kevin's brilliant kind of ventriloquism act by just kind of pulling off this kind of mannequin of a clown dancing in the shower and freaking out Tim Curry.
Play the tape of Uncle Frank singing at the exact time.
I do love I love the chat they have with Ken afterwards. They're trying to apologize to his dad, and he's trying to kind of just make him feel really, really bad for walking into him in the shower.
Yeah,
it's like we're talking down to him. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it.
You will not see my father for the remainder of the trip.
So, and then they go to the toy store first.
Yeah,
at that point.
It's a nice toy store, but where's the video games at?
I've written down in my comments where the Game Boy game's at.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
was it like 93 or 94? They could have had Super Nintendos in there.
It looks like a toy shop from the 50s.
It was a rich person's toy shop, you can tell.
It's like wooden dolls.
We couldn't go in there. We wouldn't be allowed to go in there. Turned away at the door. So, you smell of poor. I'm sorry, you have to go away and go to the peasant.
So we have to
buy some Pokemon cards.
Yeah, so this is when we find out that Harry and Marv are planning to rob the toy store at night because that's the next logical step. Houses, toy stores, that seems to be.
They're gonna have a lot of money in toy stores during Christmas Eve.
To donate.
So you escape prison. I'm going to be a bit more subtle. I'm going to rob the biggest toy store in New York. Fantastic idea. Well done, lads.
Can I
10 out of 10.
point out a thing, by the way? When they're discussing that, I don't know if they're in wherever skating, and he's stealing like clothing from people that are skating.
No one clocks it.
No, nobody notices.
Yeah, it's like she actually like almost falls over when he takes like the scarf and you think, why does she come back and ask for the scarf?
It's a big ring.
Would you go walk up to Daniel Stern and ask for the scarf back?
Because he steals a scarf.
The sticky bandits are here.
He basically he picks up from people like, and they bloody notice a scarf, like earmuffs.
They do it in the park as well later on with his little hand of like stealing things. He's like stealing warm clothing. That's just how he rolls apparently.
I just want to be warm.
God, it's cold to be fair. So yeah, they find that out, and then he goes back to the. So he runs into Harry and Marv outside the hotel at some point, and they have the reunion. He's like, "Oh, hiya, pal." Like, what are the odds of the cosmic odds of going into the same city by mistake, and running into these two twats again?
So a chase happens there, and
they affront him in the street and thinking, "How that? What? Yeah, that's he's gonna scream.
Oh yeah, that was
what's
dumb.
What's the grand plan here?
Kill him.
You can't take him. You can't take him on the street in public. It ain't gonna work like that. And he just screams and runs away.
I don't know. They sort of like two adult men chase a small child, and nobody seems to care.
It's New York in the 90s.
It's almost like they're idiots. No, that can't be it. Surely not. Surely not. So yeah, he does a bit of a trick with some necklaces to drop the pearls, and they all fall on their arse again. And it's like, it's just like Home Alone 1. They're falling on their face again. Mm-hmm. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Back to the hotel, Tim Curry's clocked on that the credit card's stolen, and he gets really kind of doesn't really question why he's home alone or out there alone. He just tries to like abduct him basically in the hotel.
He only works it out like what, for the third or fourth day. Like they didn't try that immediately. Like, kid with a credit card or something.
But he knows that in maybe the worst way possible, and if he doesn't even try and be subtle, just kind of breaks it out immediately while he's still in the lobby, and then he escapes. And it's like, what are you doing? That's not how you do it.
I like that where the camera zooms in on Tim Curry is when he just does that smirk. Like, I got him.
That gurning face he does. It's just, that's like the most satisfying smirk I've seen in my entire life. It is beautiful. But he manages to escape into the arms of Harry and Marv, which is so much worse somehow.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Tim Curry, Joe
Pesci. Pesci's about the same height as Macaulay Culkin in that movie. They're almost about the same height, and he's 12, and that's quite disconcerting.
And Joe Pesci's Joe Pesci.
Well, he's a bit harder, and he's like, I got a gun in my pocket, I'll fucking shoot you.
Yeah, he's ready to kill this fucking kid.
I mean, can you blame him?
In the first film, I mean...
It goes from innocent fun to you try to murder me like 4 or 5 times in your house of death. I'm going to get my home back. And
it was self-defense.
I guess that's fair. I'd do the same thing, Frank. I'd be killing him as well, frankly, but for me, that's fair enough. So he manages to escape. I don't know how he escaped the second time around, actually. I'm trying to think. The pinching of the bums thing, wasn't it? With the woman.
Yeah.
Bit of harassment, why not?
It's New York.
Arse, pretends it's Harry Marv that slapped the woman's arse, and then she knocks them both out with a beautiful punch. He was off into the park and escapes, and that's when he meets up with the crazy pigeon lady again, I believe.
Yep.
And I was like, you're not too scary.
Maybe she's not crazy, she's just...
Despite her best efforts, look really scary with the death glare and the pigeon shit all over.
And it's holding a hand out to his face before actually trying to...
Help me!
Again, so they have a really kind of another heart-to-heart, which is a bit jarring because just like the other one, basically, my family, they don't like me anymore, blah blah blah. It's almost the exact same beat for beat as the old man thing, but it's less riveting this time, I thought.
Yeah.
The issue is, we watched 1 and 2 back to back, more or less. I think watching 1 and then watching 2 like the next year, you'd notice a bit less how noticeable they are the same movie.
Yeah,
watching them back to back, it's jarring. It's very jarring.
When you think about like making a direct sequel to Home Alone, what can you really do? To set up that scenario,
he does quite a good job. To
set up that scenario again, basically.
So they go and have the heart-to-heart thing, and then Kevin decides to save the day and try and stop the toy store from being robbed by smashing a brick through the window. Very satisfying stuff.
He basically trapped the house of his uncle, which is out of town, who lives in New York. The same uncle that they visit in Paris.
We discuss Harry and Marv's master plan is to hide in little doll houses until the store closes.
I do love that. They
come out the store houses and then rob it and then leave.
Yeah, well, you don't need to break in there, you just need to break out.
There's no cameras in the toy store. There's no security in here. Why not? Don't need that. It's Christmas time.
I do love the scene where they're like poking out their heads, like there's still people in the store.
But the fact that actually works is even more baffling because the plan is stupid and it works and it annoys me. Well, it doesn't work. It gets fumbled by Kevin. But it could have worked.
It would have worked without Kevin.
So yeah, before that, he kind of goes to his uncle's house and has this even worse death trap house set up. This one's actually barbaric.
I felt like
this is bordering on like Saw levels of torture.
It starts with bricks to the face. It goes downhill from there.
Which I mean, that in its own, you probably kill someone potentially.
No, the bricks to Marv more than Harry because he gets fucking ruined.
What about the nail gun to the crotch? That's the second one.
No, there's a staple
gun, isn't it?
I think it is a staple gun.
So
it still hurt.
It is, yeah. Because staples the rope to his face. It's to kind of unstaple himself off the rope. But yeah, that's brutal. and it gets sort of worse from there. Then you've got the two the story drop from the front door. Apparently, the guys can't look below their feet. They can't seem to look at the ground. Apparently, these guys. That's the issue. They can't see nails and staircases. They can't see baubles. They can't see massive holes in the floor. They're hopeless. They got no feet. It's like a video game protagonist looking down at the feet, and there's nothing there. It's just
I do
stupid.
That like very unsafe kind of, what shall we call it, stairs that he builds as well to get up.
That's brutal. How do they get up that tube thing, Kevin, to get there in the first place? How do you get up those things?
Like the xenomorph.
They're all flimsy. How do you even get the purchase on it?
Yeah.
Kid Ex Machina. But you imagine it, I mean, but yeah, there's in terms of the worst like things in that movie in terms of the slapsticky, like pranky, like trap stuff. The kerosene in the bathtub's quite brutal. I mean, in the toilet.
Yeah.
With the head dunk.
Electrified faucet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the skeleton Marv. Yeah.
I mean that was the point where I think, okay, this is like crossed
Marv gets it so much worse than Harry in this movie. He gets like Marv should have died like 5 times in this movie. This from the bricks alone.
Yeah.
So yeah, they completely torture these two to like almost like to a point where it's like almost feeling bad for them. It's like a sympathetic thing. Like, oh my god, this is becoming like torturous now. Please stop. And it ends with the kerosene on the rope thing, and they fall down all those flights of stairs. That becomes quite brutal as well.
Because Kevin desires blood.
I do like the fact that when he tries to escape, at the end he falls on some ice and falls on his back. That's kind of like that's what that feels like. This is kind of like turnaround.
This is what I've done to people. Oh no.
Yeah. But then he was caught in the last movie too in a similar kind of like arrogant way, so maybe I shouldn't be too kind of like happy with that one.
And who comes to say
maybe we can have a Kylie Stranger that we didn't trust in the first place that can help.
They're gonna shoot him in the park, which I think's phenomenal, frankly. But they can't get the gun because it's covered in fucking what's it covered in? Some slippery goo that they acquired by some disastrous thing that came on the house at them, and they can't shoot the gun. And then they're attacked by pigeons, as you do.
And Marv does his scream again.
And they're like pelvic thrust in the air.
It might be an even better skin than actually number 2. It's phenomenal.
I just realised, by the way, Keep getting shot in Central Park would be fairly realistic.
It's New York, baby.
You got something to say?
Fair enough.
How do you know that?
The cops appear again. Kevin's got a habit of like calling the cops like half an hour too late. I've noticed from these movies.
Because he wants
he calls them when he's in the house in the first film, then he calls them when he's escaping them in the second movie.
He's not doing this to out the goodness. He's doing it because he just hates those guys.
He couldn't just call the cops and say they're gonna rob this toy store tonight at 9 p.m. and this negate the entire thing.
No, I want to soften them up in my fun house before I let them know.
I must say this. I want to torture them first to get my sick joy out of it, and then we can then go through that from there. It's just a ridiculous thing. By this point, the mum's gone to the hotel and met with Tim Curry, and that's all sort of came to a head because she slaps Tim Curry and he gets a little quivering lip going on. When
that's a very great reaction. I love that.
That's phenomenal. I do love that. That's fantastic. So he ain't going to be there because obviously he's banned from there now, so it becomes a bit of a hunt to find out where he's gone. And they have this kind of like Christmas tree line earlier on in the movie, which is kind of like a throwaway line that becomes a big deal. They go to the biggest tree in Times Square and stuff.
Yeah, that Rockefeller Street or something? Rockefeller Center?
Yeah, something like that. And then they meet up there, and it's all very sad and blah, 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 blah. And then, yeah. Yeah.
Oh wait, that's the McAllister music.
I actually really enjoy Home Alone 2. Looking back at it now, I'm not quite as into it.
I still enjoy it a fair bit, not as well as.
I feel like
it's the only one that's actually a direct sequel, and
it's direct to a fault though. It's almost like a bad fax copy of Home Alone 1.
Because it's the first film. The way it goes and ends, it does not lend itself to sequel material, which is ironic since there's 6 films we have to get through somehow.
I don't know. I think they could have done a different approach, but they chose to go down. I don't mind you taking up some similar tropes from the first movie. That's fine. You know, the slapstick stuff or some like funny lines that are from the first film. That's quite funny. But a lot of it is like copied and pasted, almost exactly from the first movie.
The best part of the first film was the whole torturing Harry and Marv in the house. So it's like, how do we replicate that in the second film? Well, we need
how do we
can't do it in the same house again. That'd be too obvious. A different house in New York.
Like a rated R movie now, basically. Home Alone, rated R.
That's basically Saw at that point.
I wonder if that's inspired by Home Alone at some point. That's kind of like an inspiration was Home Alone and Kevin McAllister's sadistic stunts that he pulls off.
Oh, Kevin was Jigsaw.
That'd be great. So that's Home Alone 2. So at that point, you've done the same movie twice. You know, what more can you really do from there? Took some time. 1997, we get Home Alone 3. That's a nice 5-year gap.
The original idea was that they wanted Kevin back, but they basically outgrew the role. So
it would have been a teenager at that point.
So they originally wanted to do one that centered on Fuller, as in Kieran Culkin. But Kieran Culkin actually didn't want to do it because he felt like it would be too big of a shoes to fill.
And he read the script as well, I imagine.
He thought it would just be a terrible idea. Well, don't do that.
So it's worth noting that we didn't get any, there's no Columbus or Williams, but John Hughes did still write the screenplay of Home Alone 3.
Yes.
Which I'm just going on the assumption that he had some kind of deal where he had to buy another film for them.
So this film had a $32 million budget, which is more than double Home Alone's 2 budget.
Inflation, I don't know.
I don't know where it went, frankly.
No, all star cast.
I think production values Home Alone 2 trumps it by by quite a large margin, I think. Box office 79.1 million, more than I thought it would make. Metacritic, no score. Rotten Tomatoes 29.
Ooh.
That's big no. So Home Alone 3 starts off quite unusually.
It starts with the Mission Impossible intro.
Yeah.
If I hadn't seen the opening Home Alone thing, I'd have no idea what I was watching for the first 10-15 minutes. It is so out there, but I was into it though. I quite enjoyed the change of kind of approach to Home Alone 3 to begin with. You know, the whole Hong Kong establishing shots and all that stuff.
Cell.
Does it share a bit of story-wise with Toy Soldiers? It's a chip that goes into a toy.
Huh.
It's hidden in the toy. It's not part of the toy.
It's not part of the toy.
No,
do
you know what it is similar to? An action movie with Will Smith called Enemy of the State.
Wild Wild West.
Enemy of the States.
Wild Wild West.
Because it's a chip that gets put into a toy, and then bad guys come and chase him. So it's closer to Enemy of the State.
Yeah, you won't be able to
first though. Home Alone 3 or Enemy of the State.
Yeah, they put it in the toy to sneak it through the airport. Which means that would not work today. No,
I think they do it. They do it. I don't remember what
that dates that film so hard. The fact they can just sneak it through, and they won't look there.
That's why I put it through as hand luggage. Put it into the actual in the luggage and put it into the back of the plane. It'd be easier.
Don't put it in the bag that the million other people have on the airport.
It would negate the entire film if they put it into the actual luggage as everybody else, rather than putting it in hand luggage because it gets caught by somebody else with the same bag. That same bag causes so much grief.
No one would question as well. No one would question the chip. Like, what's this? Oh, it's a chip. It's basically
so it's like
it's my Intel processor.
An Air Force chip, something like that, isn't it? It's like
yeah, but no
it's
one
like an RC car,
like Skynet or something like that's involved.
No, it's a missile. Doesn't it cloak missiles? That was the thing.
So they don't show up on radar.
They talk about
it goes in some. It goes in some old lady's bag who might be the worst character I've ever heard in my life. She's a horrendous person for the first almost all the movie. She's the worst person. I hope she'd die at one point, but she didn't. I was gutted.
That's your review.
She's dead now. It's fine. Who cares? So she ends up with this RC car which she has no want or need for, and decides to give it to her neighbor, who is not Macaulay Culkin and is not Kevin McAllister. Thank God.
It's Alex D. Lintz, who didn't really do much other than this, I think.
What was the character name?
We did.
We can't all be Culkin.
Oh.
Alex.
I thought he was the liar kid, but he's not.
No,
it's the same hairstyle.
They all
that was the small kid hairstyle.
The 90s mop top thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 90s 10-year-old kid hair.
So I'm gonna say one thing about this kid. I'm not gonna say he's as good as an actor as Macaulay Culkin, because Macaulay Culkin was great. He is believably acting like a little child.
He's got some charm to him.
Yes.
I didn't want to hit him with a bus or anything at any point. I felt like he actually was doing quite a decent job.
I felt like hitting him with a bat because he was annoying.
Yeah, but that's
Kids
just
annoying.
children.
Maybe
That's all children.
Yeah.
It's the natural state of children.
He ends up with this kind of RC car with a hidden chip inside it, which can cause untold damage to the population.
So they want to sell it to North Korea, which is told later in the movie.
They could have gone down a really cheap and have like Kevin like recast and have him be a new actor and have him be the same character.
Yeah,
but they didn't do that.
Be like
I'm
James
glad they
Bond,
didn't do that.
where they keep getting different actors, like the moniker.
I'm cool with that. I'm okay. Change the kid. I'm fine with that. It doesn't need to, it's not like the Kevin show. Have other kids be in the same situation and be. There's more than one bright kid out there. Yeah. You've got a whole new family. You've got family. You've got like new Buzz, who's actually worse than the old Buzz.
He's not called Buzz though.
Yeah, you've got Scarlett Johansson, which I was like, I was like, the Scarlett Johansson? Excuse me, what the fuck?
That would have been at that point. I don't think she would have been that well known either. I think it was only afterwards.
No. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And again, the kids are just the worst. Those two siblings are horrendous to him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There has to be
like from like fun jibes to like actual bullying at some points, and it's like, wow, you actually are like dickheads.
I feel like the parents are actually sort of decent for once, but the siblings are just terrible.
I wasn't left home alone technically, and they didn't go abroad or anything like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there were good excuses for like, oh, we have to leave him alone, but at least it was somewhat believable.
He has measles.
I could buy that. That's viable. They've also got a fucking massive house, which is like a Home Alone. Apparently, they've all got fucking massive houses.
Yeah, you can't really do this in an apartment.
It would be tricky.
Suburbs are bust. Okay, fair enough.
Depressing
I would say the head like bad guy. That he's been in a lot of things over the years. That guy.
He was the defense minister in Fast 8, I believe.
He was in the Italian Job remake. He was in X-Men First Class, Eraser, the Arnie movie.
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen Eraser.
A bunch of stuff. But yeah, he's been in many things. So I was like, oh, he's that guy. Hey, that guy.
I recognized one of the other villains as he was a fairly prominent character in Twin Peaks as well, which was interesting.
Television.
David Lynch's Home Alone. I'd watch that. That'd be great.
Oh hell yeah!
That'd be phenomenal. Barbaric, but I'd love it. So yeah, the bad guys use some sort of tracker to find out that they don't track it. They have to do a bit of work to try and find out where it is. They manage to find the street that they think the RC car is on at some point. So
it's quite an upgrade from like Harry and Marv. You actually have this gang of. Because I suppose like really
well-funded, well-equipped,
well-trained,
competent, maybe not so much. Well,
supposedly competent, but then later on it devolves pretty quickly.
Yeah. So they go around and they start going into people's houses while they're out, which is not the most subtle way of doing it, frankly. But he just breaks into people's houses. Luckily, the kid, I forget what's the fucking kid called again.
Alex Pruitt.
Alex got like a telescope that he uses for the street, and he just sees people being burgled. So he calls the police. Smart thing to do. Why couldn't Kevin do that? I don't know.
And he gets
who shows up?
Who shows up?
Yeah, so
speaking of well-known faces,
the janitor from Scrubs turns up.
That's so great.
No, it's the cop that shouts Kimball.
The fugitive. It's got one of those like cop faces. Apparently, just put him as like cop roles.
He just shows up as cops in things, or the janitor.
It's like a cop on standby. It's like the army reserves. You get like cop reserves. He's just there for like filming for stuff. He turns up. He does like 2 phone calls with the exact same thing, but these guys leave no trace behind of them being in the house, so they think he's making prank phone calls. So he gets sort of told off and grounded and stuff for being a naughty prank caller. Again, it's that kids are always telling the untruths trope, which I always fucking hate that because it's just like. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Every film does that. Oh, the kid's stupid. He doesn't know what he's doing. Ignore him. So yeah, they go through that. The police aren't very. I will say the cops are very keen to get there when they are being told they are being robbed. They seen like 2 cars
it's down there. It's a rich neighborhood. Rich white
break
people.
The door down.
I know they are all in. Well, given that Home Alone 1, they wouldn't go into the house to make sure that the kid wasn't home alone. But they'll break down doors for a burglary that's already gone and went.
Just knock on the door twice and be like, no, I'm going back.
It's like they've learned from the last film. Look, let's be a bit more keen this time and actually get things done. So, yeah, he gets told to not do that again. then eventually they realize that Alex's house is the one that's actually doing all the shit going on.
There's a sequence where Alex spies on the burglars.
Yeah, he was trying to get evidence of what they're actually doing.
Really unsubtle burglary.
It really established that Alex is some sort of like whiz kid.
Genius.
The engineering skills. He like straps a camcorder to an RC car and somehow gets a live feed to his house. How does he do that?
I suppose it like work? I mean, if you're going to try and have the explanation of like how like these children can set up these elaborate death traps, maybe having something like before is like, oh, he's just clever. He can do all this kind of stuff.
Ultimate scale, it's like baby with buggy spy and man running spy, the most obvious like spy tropes you could possibly think of in terms of
mustache.
I know, trying to blend in with the most like obvious like by the numbers disguises in the world. That's hilarious.
But one of them involving kidnapping someone's dog to be part of the disguise.
So yeah, what about they go into one guy's house and they use the RC car they're trying to find as a ploy to try and catch them in the act. Not knowing that they're looking for the actual car the camera's on in the first place. That was nice. I enjoyed that. It's a nice touch, actually.
The actual RC car
brings it all together.
This is the greatest RC car in like movie history because it does take so much damage. It does so much
Alex
stuff.
is some kind of RC whiz kid. He does things with that car that shouldn't even be possible. That's hilarious.
It later grow up to be a contestant on Robot Wars.
What would his name be? I can't think what it would be. Something stupid, probably. They always are. So yeah, eventually he manages to escape with the RC car again by some minor miracle. He manages to do some overhead jumps and stuff.
It was like one of the longest RC car chase scenes I've ever seen in cinema.
Of all the ones that I've watched, which is like 4 or 5, I think, maybe. The absolute most. So yeah, at this point we sort of realise that the kids, they know where he is, know what's going on, and where he stays. So it's a matter of Home Alone mode, self-defense mode. Let's get this shit going on, and then we get usual Home Alone shenanigans from there, pretty much, don't we? We got a nice Oingo Boingo montage.
Oh, was that what it was?
Oingo Boingo. Yeah.
Oh man.
Really odd. I mean, I like the nice twist, the fact that he wasn't actually home alone at that point. I'm pretty sure they were like
false advertising.
Well, the mum was still in the house when she was leaving because she nearly sets off one of the traps. So it's like, oh wait, no, don't go in there. Not yet.
Yeah, so he's not home alone, but putting in all these death traps to make sure that nothing actually goes wrong. Then she leaves. She gives Alex her fax number when she leaves. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do with that?
I need to fax you in emergency.
Here's my fax number. It's supposed to be me in like fucking being kidnapped. Help!
Help me!
Seriously. Then we get the usual shenanigans, electricity traps, and things being put into eyes and blunt force trauma. I forgot a lot of the actual
I feel
in this movie.
The one note I have for the traps here is the lawnmower to the head.
Oh, to the face.
What the hell?
I mean, you could replay that scene with like more sinister music. It would be actually terrifying.
Yeah.
I've often thought he had a lot of fishing wire in this house to do all these traps. Where's it all coming from?
He also
man, I love fishing.
He also drew a tractor to set these traps up. Does he have a license for that?
And then they have the near the beginning where he gets electrocuted, but he shoots lightning out of his asshole.
I was going to say, why did it blow his arse out? Yeah, that's quite strange.
This film has a weird fascination with.
I feel like this is a movie has a lot of more, shall I say, sophomoric humor. There's a lot of like poop and fart jokes.
There were parts in Home Alone 2 that kind of like go into the absurd. This one like really goes with it.
Yeah, and as usual, it all goes wrong, but then eventually they manage to get out, and then Alex is kind of cornered by the big bad cop. He's got that old lady like tied to a chair in her house. Good, frankly.
Leave her there.
I mean, she comes good at the end, to be fair. She's very thankful, but only after she was a terrible human being for most of her life. So, it's too late to make redemption at that point. That's fair enough. I'd let her freeze there, frankly, if it were me, but that's neither here nor there. They do a bit of an the old gun switcheroo, and he gives him like a fake gun to the bad guy and doesn't realize it until he tries to shoot him with it.
That was a really funny.
Like, surely you would know what a fake gun feels like, right?
It has the sucker thing on like the front as well.
It's like a dart gun. It's like made of plastic. You would notice that immediately, even with gloves on. Surely it weighs nothing.
No, he's taken so much damage to the head already, so he's stupid now.
Blunt force trauma, ex machina.
Yes.
Of course. Fair enough. I can't really complain with that.
I like the scene where the kid just pulls out, "You're looking for this," and just points a gun at an adult. Oh no, this is gonna get morbid.
I will say that of all the folks who get like injured, the lady bad guy, she gets mangled in this movie.
Oh yeah, she gets proper fucked.
Like she leaves into like all like origami like ball like all shaped up, and it's like, oh my god, that's gonna hurt in the morning.
That's something that happens from this point on in the franchise. Is that they start involving like female crooks, and they just get as bad as the rest of them.
Very aggressive.
That's equality. I'm okay with that. That's fine. I want to mention one thing actually. When eventually the FBI kind of clock on that the chip's actually in the house, so they go to the school and Mum's there, and then they just tell her like what's going on with this chip immediately.
Oh yeah,
like confidential information. This is like this is top secret stuff. Oh yeah, your son's got a chip that's got like secret munitions technology in it. Like, there's no way they would tell you that. No way.
There's a bunch of guys trying to steal it so they can sell it to North Korea.
Like they strong arm some like high ranking agent and they spills the beans for about the entire thing.
What is not true is that they arrest the entire family after this movie.
They
all go to Guantanamo.
Merry Christmas.
Home Alone 4: Escape from Gitmo.
Actually, that's something I want to say about this. Is barely a Christmas movie. This is not a Christmas movie at all.
It's a winter movie.
It's there's snow.
It's got an igloo at the end, isn't it? That the bad guy's hiding in. Is that an igloo?
That's not Christmas.
What's that? Oh.
It's cold. So yeah, the bad guy has in the. Oh, I forgot to mention the MVP, the parrot. Actually, this movie.
I do love.
No, they're the most annoying. I hate parrots.
I love it. I love the parrot. Best character in the movie.
They put some effort into because when he lights the match, the parrot lights a match. That like practical effect of the parrot looks all right.
Yeah. Couldn't you just grab the bird rather than letting it light the match and light the fuse?
He's trying to deal with it. Like
I've come to bargain.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I only have one. I have to call back to the double or quits thing I did earlier on. I like that. It's a nice touch. But yeah, and that's kind of how it ends. The usual kind of
it does the everyone laughs ending, which I obviously
cut. Freeze frame.
I mean,
I have severe emotional trauma.
1 and 2 at least. That's good news. I mean, I think I like 3 quite a lot actually. To be honest,
okay.
It's an okay movie. It's an okay movie.
Okay, you were wrong.
I don't know where the budget went because the budget being twice as much as Home Alone 2. I don't think it was twice as much movie as Home Alone 2. Frankly, given that it was like one set apart from like one random Hong Kong establishing shot.
It's like if you feed in the scripts of Home Alone into an AI to make another one. Probably.
I think later on that gets more credit to be honest than this one.
Craig, that's 4.
It does a lot of like things that aren't
Four is
for
barely
the
a
Home Alone
movie.
Movies.
4 is a pilot for a TV show.
Yeah, I will give 3 credit for trying something different. Not all that works, to be fair. That's understandable, but it didn't try to follow just it wasn't like Home Alone 2.5.
You're making the 3rd film in a series that only really needed 1 film. You're going to struggle.
You can take the film and change the formula a little bit and just have it adapt to fit something else.
Well,
that's fair enough.
That's kind of what they did, really.
And I'm cool with that. I will give 3 props for at least trying to do something that's not the exact same. So that's fair enough.
What can we say about 4 though?
They tried to do the exact same badly.
So we had a gap between these movies. So 1997 was Home Alone 3. Home Alone 4 was 2002. So that's another 5-year gap there. So
yes,
made for TV first and foremost. Let's get that out of the way straight away. So budget is pretty much negligible. Box office negligible. Metacritic nothing. Rotten Tomatoes nothing.
Really?
Nothing there.
No one watched it.
No one bothered even going to see it. So this one has no John Hughes, no Chris Columbus, no John Williams. It's just a complete.
It's characters based on John Hughes characters.
It has the McAllisters. Welcome back.
Wait. The top billing of this movie is French Stewart, by the way. He's the first name on that.
So
when French Stewart is your top billing, then you're in trouble. Frankly, as far as I'm concerned.
It was a year before Inspector Gadget 2, so they didn't get the best film.
I was going to mention that before, actually. Yeah, we have watched that before ourselves, and that movie is
better than he has any right to be.
Would I watch this or Inspector Gadget 2? I wonder.
Such a weird thing. Like Kevin and Marv is back. It's such a weird.
So I'm really fucked off with this. The 3 prove that you can actually make a whole movie without having Kevin and stuff be in it and still have it work quite well. And then they completely throw that away and bring back a completely recast McAllister family and Marv as well.
But not Harry.
But it's still 10 years after, but then none of them are supposedly aged.
Apparently they asked Daniel Stern to come back. Daniel Stern said no.
No shit.
Good for him.
When Daniel Stern's too busy, that's when you know you've hit rock bottom, frankly. That's not great. This film looks cheap.
It is cheap.
Her house.
It's like a Hallmark movie.
That's what I was thinking. This is a Hallmark movie in disguise.
That house
it looks horrendous.
That house looks like it actually really looks like a set. It doesn't look like anyone's house. There's never been a house
specifically for Home Alone.
It's very Hallmarky. It's awful.
I have never seen it.
So I like how this film starts. I'll admit. So you got the McAllisters are getting divorced. I think that's quite
It's believable.
I love a good divorce.
Hear me out. A lot of kids go through parental divorces when they're younger, and having something that approach that and address that's quite like a nice angle to take, because it's something that a lot of kids do have to deal with when they're younger.
No, I speak from experience.
Yeah, so am I. So I thought, okay, they're going down that avenue, trying to handle Christmas time with two families. That could be quite fun, actually. I thought that'd be quite an interesting angle to take.
I wouldn't say fun. That's
oh boy!
You can make it fun. You can make it fun for kids, though. That's what I'm trying to get at. You can make it fun for kids.
Yay, divorce!
So I thought, okay, they're going down like a more kind of like actual proper route here. This is actually quite interesting. That'll be completely nullified later on. We'll discuss that in more detail later on. So Dad's moved out. He's got a new partner now who's apparently really fucking rich.
Like more rich than they were before, somehow.
Yeah, he's really happy. They've got Buzz back, who's actually the worst Buzz, I think.
He is a terrible.
This one's like serial killer vibes I get from this one. He is horrendous.
I think this implied that Home Alone was like it takes place after the events of 2.
Yeah. So this is like a soft sequel to Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
But then they have some.
He mentions being left home alone before, but doesn't go much detail about it.
And he remembers Marv as being, that's the guy I tortured all that time ago.
That's why he's not in. I mean, Marv's in this one, but the other one, Pesci, he's not here because he died of injuries.
No, he was
Joe Pesci.
Yeah, Joe Pesci died of injuries.
I can't remember what. No.
That's why
there was some lame excuse they used, but I can't remember.
Did they? I don't remember. Because he's
still alive, Joe Pesci. I can confirm that.
No, but I mean, Marv.
I know him.
The other
Harry.
Daniel Stern's still alive too.
Yeah, because he's got a woman with him this time instead.
Yeah, Missy Pyle.
Yeah,
my wife.
Yeah, who's also who's actually not terrible, to be honest.
Yeah, she's not the worst part of this movie by far.
No, French Stewart's the worst part of this movie by a large margin.
No, you know what? You know who I really dislike
not the French Stewart movie I would watch. Let's put it that way.
The one actor I really dislike in this movie is Kevin McAllister himself. I really hated him.
So rolling back a bit, so we got two families now basically, and Kevin the dad wants to have them be with him for the Christmas time period, and the mum's a bit less than pleased with that.
Where are the rest of the siblings, by the way? He had a lot of siblings. No, they're suddenly gone.
There's not that many.
They've been taken away by the council. The two reckless.
They took him in the divorce.
You've lost a kid twice. You can't have them anymore. They're going back to the CPS.
Of all those kids, now we've only got Kevin and Buzz.
Yeah, they're in foster care now.
And the
best thing for them, frankly.
And one of the sisters.
They're just terrible. They deserve it, frankly. So yeah, Dad comes over and says, "Be with me," but then the kids go, "Nah, we'll stay with Mother instead." And then Kevin gets bullied and then changes his mind, and then takes a taxi by himself
with a piggy bank full of
house.
Change.
No one sees that he's gone. He just gets in the cab and goes to his dad's house, with no one even starts to question where he's gone until the next morning when he's not in his fucking bed, which is hilarious.
No one cares.
Well, I mean, considering this is like the third time canonically that he's just disappeared,
So he goes to his would-be stepmom's smart house with its voice-activated everything.
This is very early for a smart house.
I was thinking that this is very much like an early thinking thing with smart activated voice doors.
The more important Tomorrow's World vision of
the more important thing.
House.
They have the butler played by what's his face, Eric Avari.
Beauty man,
old British man.
I think it's Eric Avari.
Avari.
He's the guy you've seen in Stargate, in Independence Day, like that
the
guy.
Mummy.
You'll take one look at him and say,
bald Indian man.
Yes, he's that guy.
Is he Indian? He's Iranian, actually.
Now, according to this, he's born in India.
Oh, I thought it was He was Iranian American.
Like
you can be born somewhere and not be from there.
Wikipedia says he was born in Darjeeling, West Bengal, India.
Not the.
Maybe I misread that.
Well, what does the first line say in the film? Does it actually say he's actually from?
Is an Indian
American actor. It says there. Yeah. So
I misread then.
Same thing, right?
Maybe you saw Parsi Zoroastrian
So yeah, he's there. He's playing this kind of traditional snooty English butler. You know, the whole kind of like, oh, kids, I will frown on them and be kind of be the unpleasant of each other.
Those kind of noises.
Yeah, you meet his stepmother. It actually seems quite pleasant to begin with.
She's a cunt.
No, I don't know about that.
That's
the house girl made it for him, bring him into his house. You know, well, given that, like, you know, later on he kind of floods the house, she actually seems kind of like okay with it after a bit of time, and it's like that's quite understanding. Fair enough. I think she comes off as quite genuine to begin with, and then that sort of takes a sharp U-turn about an hour into the movie.
At one point, it's sort of now let's just throw that away. It's
got a big bedroom. It's got like 8 TVs and like a weird like circle around the big TV, like a Bond villain would have.
It's a gamer pad. It's got the fucking keyboard. It's got a gamer chair with keyboard.
It's got Monaco GP in the corner. Yeah,
he's got the perfect room to play Fortnite in.
He's got 2 cabinets as well, doesn't he? Like arcade cabinets.
I mean, it's pretty nice, to be honest. I wouldn't argue with that, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, at that point, it all seems to be going quite well.
There's one line in this movie where he basically says, "I think your girlfriend is starting to buy my affection, which I do not mind."
I quite like Kevin this one. I think it's quite a decent role.
I don't. No.
You got some explaining to do.
Just me.
I found him
annoying. I'd rather he wasn't a
McAllister,
but you know, as new Kevins go, I was like, okay, I can fuck with this. That's fine. I can live with this.
Whoa! The praising.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's for the After Dark cut from this one. So the butler's a dickhead. Frankly, it's just smack talking this 9-year-old. There's no reason to do that. He's doing his job and he's just being mean.
The kid does invade his personal space.
He's 9 years old. All kids do that, though. And he doesn't like right the place. He isn't rude. He just sits in the chair and just looks at the screens for a little bit. Nothing too bad about that. I mean, he's still a brat. He's flying that fucking plane indoors that he got for his Christmas, which is just don't do that. Don't fly RC planes indoors. And then that's when we first meet the recasting of Marv and his other half, which is
French Stewart and Mitzvah. But Marv deciding to dress like Harry for some reason.
No, French Stewart's got some talent, apparently.
Says who?
I like him in Third Rock from the Sun. I liked him in that quite a lot.
I liked him in Inspector Gadget, to be honest.
That film doesn't exist anymore. Forget about that. So Marv's master plan is because, you know, being a burglar is too dangerous and he gets caught, he's going to go into child abduction instead.
Because that's where the money is.
Bringing over some wealthy child prince from another country to the house for like a Christmas party. They're going to kidnap him and ransom him off.
Yeah.
Which is a ridiculous idea. They can't even burgle houses right. Why is that? This is a terrible idea.
I mean, Marv was always like, I mean, they were both pretty stupid. He was the stupider one. So the fact that he would, like, if he was allowed to make the big decision, he'd be like, "Oh, kidnapping, sure, why not?"
Kidnap the president's kid next.
And you can say he has 2 movies worth of brain damage at this point. So.
What they could have said is, you know, he had to get like face surgery to get his face fit after the Home Alone 2, and that's why he looks like French Stewart now.
So that's why they cast French Stewart.
They did the opposite of a facelift. They did the face.
I had reconstructive French surgery. I'm sorry. So yeah, that happens, and then it turns out they had an inside man the whole time because they had all the security codes, smart house.
Yeah,
they had this like remote you just talk to, and he had one of those as well.
But Kevin's in the house, and then they have a nice little meeting up together. Marv doesn't just kill him on sight. I don't know why.
He has like PTSD when he first sees him. Like, no,
and then he tries
of all the kids to show up.
Tries to kill him with a shower, which is the most. That shower is like that shower could like rend flesh from bone. That's
not even like a. That's supposed to be a normal shower. Why
it's like a torture device? That shower. How much? That's like I'll have to. I know it's water pipe bans and everything. That's outrageous. Yeah, it's like 16,000 nozzles
really clean.
So that floods. This smart house doesn't have any sort of like flood warning. Apparently, it just kind of all goes off. They'd be like, oh, water now above sink level. I'll turn the water off. Now this smart house lets the whole fucking thing flood.
But and all the water's like just sort of retains in the house.
Yeah, it stays.
Yes.
It stays.
And then Marv just sort of runs off or squelches off with his other half, and then that's just like, oh yeah, there was burglars, and the butler's like, I didn't see anybody. So at that point, you're thinking, the burglars, the butler's in on it. He must be the inside man because he's getting for them. Very, very clever. And the dad doesn't believe him, of course, about the burglars, and he gets the telling off. The classic, don't believe the kids thing, recurring theme from these movies I've noticed.
The third time no one listens to Kevin.
Yeah. I mean, the stepmom actually calms down a little bit after the first shock of seeing the house.
I would not be. That place must be water damaged.
So it's just this water, I'm insured, right? And I'm like, that's quite nice of her. Maybe she is actually quite pleasant about this. And then, of course, that turns out to be not the case. At this point, I started to clock. I'm guessing that Kevin never actually told the family about Harry or Marv at any point over the last 2 movies about what happened to him.
Yeah.
So they have no idea still what's going on.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I know they put in the first film for some reason, but the second film, you think you'd at least tell them what happened. The cops were all there; they would know about it.
Oh, you think someone else would tell them if it wasn't Kevin as well? You think
the police, for example, would tell the parents who were there on both occasions. But no, apparently they had no idea about Harry and Marv even being a thing at all, which is hilarious. But yeah, so they go through that. Kevin's dad doesn't believe him. They go through the grounding thing. Then we come to the actual the big crescendo event where the party is kicking off. They try and announce that they're getting engaged. The dad and the new stepmom, and Kevin kind of quote unquote ruins it, trying to foil Marv and Mrs. Marv's plan at the end.
Yeah, because they have snuck in as waiters, the least professional waiters ever. He wears the cap still. He wears the cap as a waiter.
They put the butler in the fridge like Tomb Raider 2, which I thought was quite funny.
That's where they got it from.
All butlers are destined for they yearn for the fridge. So he's chilling out in there for a while. Kevin just goes in and fucks everything up. And then, he gets another kind of stern telling off, don't do that again. And then it turns out, which is a great twist actually, is that the butler isn't in on it. It's the maid that's in on it. And the maid is Marv's fucking mother.
That was quite the little revelation, just out of nowhere.
In my comments, I wrote, fuck me, it was the maid, ha ha ha, it's Marv's mom, ha ha ha, fuck off. Just hilarious.
It's like just fan fiction levels of like twists.
Yeah, and then then we also get the bit of a turn with the whole the stepmom actually being like a horrendous person at this point.
She is rich, so she's probably not nice.
She has that little heart-to-heart talk with Kevin. It's like, I will get you kicked out of the house if you try and do this and ruin my life again. I'll get you turfed out. And it's like, okay, that's.
I want your dad's D. You will not get in the way.
I want his dick. That's fair. At that point, I started to think, is she actually involved in this scheme as well? That's how bad I thought she was.
Oh man,
I won't put it past them. No, everyone's a bad guy, sure.
So eventually, her and the butler both get caught and they get put into the nice wine cellar, and it's like they have a little heart-to-heart moment where it's like, I doze off when I work sometimes. Sue me. That's why I missed out them being here in the first place.
That's such a
then they sort of plan their master plan.
Convenient way to absolve the butler of actually being like, I was just sleeping because I hate my fucking.
I hate my job.
I mean, that's relatable, right? We've all been there, right?
I wish I could.
Definitely have he's just like me for real moment. So yeah, eventually they manage to get out, and then they do the usual kind of Home Alone kind of slapstick stuff, which is actually pretty shit in this movie.
Very limited as well.
I have not a single note on the traps. I can't even remember.
Nothing.
There was the rotating bookcase that seems to spin faster and faster. It's got it's got like a max speed setting for some reason.
Yeah.
They can just stop on the dime.
He also reprograms one of the remotes and switches it to Marv. I don't know what that does actually, but I guess that's a thing.
It might be the worst hidden bookcase in the world, because the floor is obviously cut off where the whole thing rotates, so you can completely tell where the turning point is. So it's not even if anything, it's worse than having it be a door at that point. There's no point. So yeah, eventually that all falls apart, and they're caught, and then the last like 10 minutes really fucked me off. By the way, so not only will they get the underwhelming slapstick stuff, and the prince is even in the fucking house at that point. It's not even arrived the prince yet. He's still on its way out.
Yeah,
both the dad and the mum appear at the same time, following their paternal instincts. They all arrive at the house at the same time. They had the moment where the new stepmom gets sort of shamed for being like a attention grabbing bitch at the end,
money grabbing bitch.
And then they go their separate ways, and then the parents get back together at the end.
Yeah,
that really fucked me off.
That was what the hell? Why so sudden?
With no build
halfway
up
through,
to it.
I wrote in my notes, I swear if they get back together. And look, they did. It's just like it nullifies the entire point. Like, they separated for a reason, I would imagine, at some point.
Yeah, because
grief doesn't work like that. It doesn't mend the gaps. It makes things worse. And then the prince arrives for like a 10-minute cameo, 10-second cameo even, and he stays at their house rather than staying at her house.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, let's all laugh. You get fake CGI snow comes down. Shit.
House, play music.
This movie was the shortest of the ones we watched, and it felt the absolute longest.
It really killed me, this one.
It felt the least like a film.
It felt really, really.
It was just
bad.
like a series of scenes played together in a sequence.
Yeah, I just couldn't stand it, frankly. I would not watch that again if I had the choice. I'd rather burn, frankly.
You're not doing something good when French Stewart is the best part of your film.
No, that's Eric Avari.
He couldn't save this.
I mean, it was pretty underwhelming, French Stewart, as well.
Yeah, he was actually quite tame.
I think it was wasted in that film.
He was drunk.
Like, his wife did more than he did, and he's the one that's actually meant to be the recurring character.
You're putting this guy in this franchise that's known for like all these wacky slapstick stuff. There's barely any in it.
Yeah. And the thing is, they bring him back as Marv, and it's like, the fact that he's Marv has like no relevance to the plot whatsoever.
No, it could have been any other person.
It's not a revenge story. It's not like I'll fill in the gaps and what happened between 2 and 3 story. It's just he's just a burglar and Kevin's just a kid. It could be any names put into a lettered rambler, and this comes out with different names. But no, they went for the old 1 and 2 kind of easy manipulation for revenue.
They were just trying to make people remind people of like the first film and be like, oh,
remember these better movies that were out with had different actors playing the same characters? Well, good news. They're not here.
Talking about a better movie. 5.
Wait, that's
no, I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
Perspective.
Can I share my first note on Home Alone 5 if you're going
Is it just Malcolm McDowell?
I was going to do my kind of like year budget thing first.
Yeah, do that.
So there was a 10-year gap between 4 and 5. My eyes. This is 2012. The Holiday Heist came out. So at an $11 million budget, it did have some home video. So it made under $1 million in home video revenue.
Under $1 million, Jesus.
Metacritic, no score. Rotten Tomatoes, no score. No.
It should also be mentioned that this is a ABC freeform, so it actually has cuts for commercial breaks in the
noticeable cuts, jarringly noticeable cuts.
So
really made for TV.
So here's my first note on Home Alone: The Holiday Heist. Mm-hmm. Oh no, the kid's a gamer.
Yeah, I love when games make up their own games to make in these things. Just make up a game up and this. Oh, look, this is like Death Master 6. Wow, look at the graphics, and it's like it looks shit. He's playing it on his phone and also at home on the console at the same time. Like the game works on both somehow.
Yeah, it's crossplay. It's
early Steam Deck that he has there apparently. So this isn't called Home Alone 5. This is just called Home Alone: The Holiday Heist. It's not going numbers. Numbers have been binned. Numbers are going too high apparently. So
we padded numbers off. Makes it look cheap.
I mean, it is cheap to be fair.
This is a cheap movie in a lot of ways.
It's got Malcolm McDowell in it.
You must be
he takes any role for any price you give him. That's not a big get.
Yeah, he had a really good start to his career. He's been making shit for like 25 years now.
He was in Clockwork Orange, and that's basically it. He didn't really do it.
He was in the Halloween remakes as Loomis, as the zombie ones, which no one enjoyed.
Oh god, Jesus, that's probably fun.
And
yeah, they're terrible.
What's his face? Apparently Eddie Steeples, who was in My Name Is Earl. He's in this as well.
Oh, Darnell's in it. Yeah. Hilarious.
I didn't realize until like the part where they start getting beat up. Like, oh yeah, it is that guy. He's just doing that with face.
And also David Mossar, who was from also another Goodfellas alumni.
Oh, by the way, going back to My Name Is Earl, the guy he buys the pearls from, he's in My Name Is Earl as well. In Home Alone 2, when he buys the pearls.
Yeah,
that's really.
Yeah, he's Mr. McGumbos or whatever his
Small
name
world.
is. He's like an African man in My Name
The
Is Earl.
basic plot is that the family buys this haunted house essentially. So you've got a new kid who's not Alex,
every house
Baxter.
in Maine is haunted.
Finn Baxter.
I don't mind Finn.
He is a scaredy cat, but he plays it off well, in a way.
You've got his sister who's like discount Miranda Cosgrove.
The standard teenager of the era.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I hate you, Mum. Oh, I got my headphones in at all times. Oh, you know, this place
I want an
sucks.
iPad for Christmas. Oh,
I'm blocking out the haters.
Hurts to watch. So they buy this haunted house. They belong to some bootleg, and apparently there's some kind of like hidden treasure tucked away within. And then rolls the antagonists on the back of that, Mr. Malcolm McDowell, who I don't know what he does to pay off gambling debts or something like that, but he must have some work he has to do because he's just I think he's trying. I think he's trying.
That's the worst part of it. The fact that he's playing it completely serious.
Yeah.
I mean, they all try. No one's like. I don't think anyone's phoning it in here. To be honest, all seem.
No, they all
when I knew that he was in this film, I thought he'd be like completely chewing at the set, but he wasn't at all.
They're giving it more credit than the movie actually deserves, I reckon, because it's not actually. Yeah. It's a shit movie. It doesn't deserve you to be putting the effort in.
I would have enjoyed it a lot more if it was just taking the piss the entire time.
So the parents have to leave to go to some Christmas party with Ed Asner, who
fucking Ed Asner's in this
who
movie.
might be the best part of this movie or any of the last three we've watched.
He is great. The 2 scenes he's in.
He needs to be in the whole movie as like the bad guy. I'd watch that more than watching him just be like in this 10-second cameo which he has.
I don't want to see Ed Asner walk into booby traps. That's not nice.
God. Yeah, but he's just the best in this movie. He's phenomenal. This film would have been like my rock bottom without him being in this movie. So
yeah,
thank you, Ed Asner. Is he still alive?
No, he died a few years ago, I think.
Fuck's sake.
Or maybe this year.
No more Holiday Heist 2.
Podcast over, guys. It's been fun.
Let's see, Ed Asner. He died in last year, August.
Jesus. Fair enough. Right, moving on. It's slightly cheerier. Well, not cheerier. It's just fucking movie still going on. So they go to this house party and they get snowed in on top of this mountaintop, so the parents can't get back down. And the bad guys plan to break into the house and steal a painting done by Edvard Munch that apparently contains Malcolm McDowell's great-great-grandmother.
Yeah, something
the fact that this is a Munch painting was really like, wait, really? That's what they got it. But then they made the reference later with like Scream at the face and like, okay.
That physically hurt me. I actually felt my years of my life vanish when he did that face. But the fact that they gave him an actual half compelling motivation was rather than this, I'm bad guy, I steal things. I've got to give it props for that, I think.
Yeah.
I think I'm giving it props.
There's another thing I kind of need to give props for is there's some surprising editing choices in this movie that was like, oh, I actually kind of like this. There's a time, like, there's a montage of time passing where it just zooms in on the alarm clock and they see suddenly the time just speed forward and then it stops again. I was like, oh, that's actually kind of nice.
It's like,
then you get the Finn clones walking around doing two things at the same time.
That was surprisingly good. I was like, how did they...
You guys are easily impressed, I'm just going to say.
This is a made-for-TV with like ads stuck in the middle of it. I'll take any credit I can give, frankly.
It's like the nicest thing you can say about the whole time. Well, that partly the alarm clock like counted up when it timed.
Yeah.
Grade A stuff.
This film's got a lot of tropes. The whole hidden room behind the bookcase trope, the creepy dark basement thing, the dad doesn't get online gaming trope. So all tropes. I love them all.
The lonely college-age gamer.
I was going to say college.
You remember what the game was called again? You remember what the name was called? The game?
Sergeant Slaughter. I don't know.
Robo Infantry 3, which is the most generic name for a game I think I've ever heard in my entire life.
I was going to say, that so-called college student looks more like a 27-year-old
You can get old college students.
That is true, though. But...
They accept of all ages, Johan.
Senior students.
I think he might be my favorite character in this movie.
I like the I Love Snow kid from next door.
Oh, that kid is kind of cool.
It's like, how does he cope in the summer? What does he do with himself? Just like hibernate until winter again.
Well,
I only live for snow.
It's a bit similar to like in Forrest Gump, like when he goes through all the what you can do with shrimp. It's like what you can do with snow.
Yeah, this kid must really hate like June, July, August time. Must fucking.
I mean, they're
despondent.
They're in Maine. There's probably snow a lot of the time.
This is snow in July in Maine.
You never know.
I don't live there.
I guess
climate change.
There wasn't any snow in it, so there must be summer at some point.
Oh God, that was fair enough. Alright, so I love that when the mum moves, she starts to second guess her move like the day after they move out. Like, is Maine really that bad?
Probably, yes.
Like, we shouldn't be here. It's a mistake.
I've made horrible.
I don't get it. They find the safe in the basement, right? The hidden door and stuff. I don't get why Finn doesn't just show his parents that he found the safe downstairs.
Yeah, he never tells anything to his parents, and then when he actually becomes herald, and because the sister is also there, and
he tells her under extreme duress as a last resort. He didn't want to tell her. Just convenient that she happened to be there at the right place at the right time to get something that the battery from downstairs that battery was needed for his controller thing that he was using for his games, because he's like a proper addict apparently.
He fucking loves video games.
He really does. Meeting older men online as well and playing games with them.
The fact that the dad sort of chimes in for, having friends online isn't the same as meeting
the
people.
Deep cut.
He plays video games. He's afraid of ghosts. He's just easy to get out and do some stuff. The dad keeps calling his son "dude," and that really annoys me.
I noticed that. Hey, dude.
Like, if you're a young dad, don't call your son "dude," please. That's peak cringe, brah. Don't do that.
That ain't good.
Yeah, and then he tries to make a sort of ghost trap and ends up catching his dad in some kind of stun gun contraption.
Yeah, they never explain like why the dad was creeping into his room.
They leave a stun gun just lying around the kids can see apparently and access quite easily and not locked up securely in a box somewhere.
The dad was like really offended about that. He's like, you were sneaking into his room really slowly. What? You're not invited here either. Where did you get a
stun gun from? Well, they shouldn't have a stun gun on them at all. That's something that should be locked in a box away from all kids for obvious reasons. Because this shit happens otherwise. I like the fact that the dad starts to actually believe that there's a real ghost after a while, which I thought was quite a nice touch. He totally buys the fact that there is a...
The parents are actually sort of nice in this movie. They're goofy, but they're like, they're nice parents. But they're just... they're away from the children
they're trapped for reasons, they're trapped because of an act of God at that point. So something their fault. It wasn't neglectful, So yeah, I was okay with that, to be honest. That was fine. I wasn't a problem with that at all.
He tries to relate to his kid, but he sort of has problems. But then, that's it.
But I like how the kids don't want to go to this party, and the mum says, "Okay, you can stay, but I'm taking all of your toys with you." And it's like, surely them being there
she takes a controller.
But surely them being there and being occupied is the best case scenario. You're taking this really weird stance where you're giving them what they want, what they don't want at the same time, because you have to make it worse for them to stay there. And it's like, well, let's keep them occupied, give them their stuff, and they'll just stay there and keep themselves busy for the next few hours. That's the best case scenario, right?
Yeah, let's let them do what they do and keep themselves.
So the parents go off and they're home alone. They do a lot of the similar Home Alone, like bounce on beds and all that stuff trope. They try and do the aftershave fake out thing, but it doesn't go like he was like, huh. And he puts it on the aftershave.
I kind of like that.
Weird.
I laughed at that audibly. I thought that was quite clever. I was waiting for the this goes like, and walks it away, which is phenomenal. So this is when the bad guys turn up. First of all, Finn is a crack shot with a slingshot.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Like, he has a phenomenal shot with a slingshot. He can take out things from miles away and just, like... It's brilliant. Fantastic.
That's the one common thread from all these films. Yeah. The kids have to be, like, hot shit at something.
Yeah, so, apart from gaming, of course. The kid gets his batteries, and he finds his spare game console. He gets into the talk with the grown-ass man-child.
Yeah.
Hey now.
Captain
Overkill just does what it does, right?
You remember his name? Fuck me. Yeah, I'll admit he's probably the best part apart from Ed Asner.
Yeah, his scenes are kind of fun because you can sense of desperation in his life, and
yeah. So the sister tries to go off to the mall. This town's got a mall. This small quaint town has got a shopping mall apparently. So she tries to go there. Then goes into the hidden safe room and gets trapped in there. And I thought, well, she's dead. Fair enough. Not undeserved. And I've written down in my comments here, the gamer guy is living the dream. So I might be lying to myself about that.
Yeah, you maybe get pepper sprayed by cops.
Well, yeah. I like that he asks his Finn asks his snow neighbor about safe cracking. I thought it was quite funny.
Yeah.
Then goes out and tries to buy like a chainsaw in like for like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And he comes back with some twine. I thought, okay.
There's also a scene where the crooks go to like a Home Depot or something and they start like shopping around. That was a weird little scene.
Isn't that the kind of the Munk thing, isn't it? They mentioned that, and that's the whole kind of plot to them about why he's trying to get it in the first place.
Because at one point, Michael McDowell's character injures his leg, so he sort of makes like a makeshift like cast with a bucket.
Yeah,
and
he finds out what the plot because he goes past the car and hears them talking about their plot to rob the house.
Yeah,
which is such a great kind of like wrong place, wrong time situation to be in. I like how they made the one-legged man go and get the coffees from the car. That was a nice touch. Good job, guys. The guy who's paying you as well as getting the coffees. It's unreal. So the sister is still trapped in this safe for this entire movie, by the way, which is fantastic.
Yeah, she's just stuck there.
She's just chilling down there, reading War and Peace down there.
She tries to read first, and I was like, no. And then later, you can see her like totally engrossed and stuff. I was like, yeah.
And he starts to get advice from the gamer guy, not telling him it's actually real and not thinking it's a game.
It's a really absurd conversation.
He's like, you're the smartest kid that I know, that you've known him for like 3 hours, but he's the smartest kid that you know.
I've written there as a note here. Home Alone is the ultimate turf defense game.
Not far off. So he starts putting his regular pranks. He's putting like glue inside like milk and stuff. That's horrible. That one.
The chili, gingerbread cookies.
Yeah, the cookie is followed by the milk. That's just like horrendous stuff. There's the ball launcher and the garage, and there's like a trebuchet sort of thing at the front door, which is a bit lame. The stunts here aren't as bad as the last movie, but they're still not great. They're not
up there in regards to the first 3 movies.
No, it's definitely a step down, absolutely. So they start going through that, and again at this point I'm thinking, why hasn't he called the police yet?
Was he scared of the
Well, they have the mobile phone, but then it runs out of battery, so.
Only 6 discusses the whole idea of.
I don't know if they even have just a regular phone or not. I don't think they have
landline. I like how 6 talks about landline. I'll go on 6 when I mentioned the whole landline thing in the later movie, but that's fair enough. Yeah. So they go through that, and then when the gamer dude finds out about the fact this is actually happening, he decides to call the police, and has maybe the worst conversation in the world. With the mother?
Yeah.
It's like, how do you get this number? Like, I hacked into your son's like credit card.
Yeah, your kid's in my basement, basically. Which is
wait, no, let me start again.
Yeah, your daughter's trapped in my safe, and then she calls the SWAT team, and he gets swatted IRL, which is he ends up swatting himself. Conversely, it's quite funny actually. Yeah, so they call him. He gets pepper sprayed like 14 times, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Then they end up catching Finn quite easily after all that. There wasn't much of a fight he puts up. It's just walks right into their arms, more or less. Just kind of shit. Yeah. So yeah, that wasn't great. The sister is still in the vault, by the way, at this point. She's just for the entire thing. What happens next? I fucking forgot what happens next. It's so shit. I forgot what happens.
Yeah.
Forgotten.
For some reason, the gamer guy has like video surveillance over the fucking basement. How did that happen? How did that happen?
Well, I think there was.
They take him into the car, and then Snowball Kid starts throwing snowballs at the lady, and she doesn't move away from them, and just sits in front of them and just takes it like a man.
I think it was the Finn set up that camera at some point because he wanted to catch them like breaking into the house. Yeah. But then at some point, that gamer guy just somehow hacked the feed so he could see it. Then she'll look, this is the crime that's going on.
And then
they're all sitting there eating noodles with the SWAT team, just chilling.
Me and the boys watching burglars.
That's like a please don't sue us thing, I think, at that point. So yeah, the snow kid gets involved and saves Finn from being put in the van by just pelting the room with snowballs, and she doesn't bother to move away.
That snowball launcher was pretty nice. It's like
she doesn't move away and go behind the car. She just sits there and just takes snowballs in the face repeatedly. It's like just stand out the way. It's not rocket science. Then he gets knocked up by like a chunk of ice almost being chucked at her, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then what was that point? I think they end up putting her instead of a giant snowman at the end, which is I thought was kind of like weird.
I've totally
her head sticking out of this giant kind of like not fake snowman, not at all.
I've totally repressed this, and I don't remember any of this.
Yeah, and the other two
after they get into the safe, and then they have the standoff with the sister.
The sister stands off.
She's like, it's after the painting. I'm going to break the painting.
What power play that is, though, to be fair. Absolute power play.
Apparently there was this plan B set up where the two guys get locked in the safe the same way the sister did, but then she gets out. At that point, it's like, well, we've got him now.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of like collateral damage to this film. There's not a lot of house damage here, I've noticed. This one's quite tame in terms of the actual impact on the property.
Yes.
What damn shame that is. Yeah, and then they get out and the parents come back and they get told everything, and then they decide to send the gamer guy money to go home to his parents.
Yeah.
Which I think he'll spend on Fortnite skins, but that's neither here nor there.
The worst gift you can give someone at Christmas.
Oh, I've got to see my parents.
No.
Nah, he's going to buy fucking Steam games, what the guy would do. Buy Steam games.
Give him Steam
I saw the parents. Yeah, they were great. Oh, great. I've got fucking Cyberpunk, finally. Yeah, and this sort of ends at that point, really.
This movie, I feel like this movie has some interesting stuff in it, but it sort of falls apart near the end.
They play the film's highlights during the ending credits. I thought it was like an outtakes thing, but it's just the shots in the film played again.
The intakes.
Yeah, it's just really bad. There's no one even gets hurt that badly in this movie. It's not even that much collateral damage for the human beings either. It's just kind of like they get a bit of a boo-boo, get locked in a safe for a bit, and nothing else happens. It's the most uneventful movie of the bunch. And again, it's something to say by Ed Asner being there and the gaming guy.
Yeah,
Malcolm McDowell.
It's just
those are the only two. Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell doesn't.
It's Malcolm McDowell. He gets points for trying.
He could be anyone in that role.
He loses points for trying.
He turns up and he acts. I'll give him that much. Yeah, he doesn't overact it. But yeah, anyone could have been that character and it would have worked okay, to be honest. I don't think it really needed him to succeed or not succeed, I guess, in this situation. So,
yeah, they should have brought back Daniel Stern for that one.
If he wouldn't do 3, why would he do 4 or 5?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, things that bad for him these days. Fuck it.
So when they get to the holiday highs, they think, oh, this is the big one.
Yeah, so at that point, the franchise sort of died a death, and there wasn't really much interest in doing anything beyond that until Disney Plus came around, and 9 years later, we get blessed with with Home Sweet Home Alone.
Ah, yes.
Which is certainly a movie. It's got a budget which is slightly higher, I believe, than the last one, 11 million compared to 15 million for this one. Box office, NA, Disney Plus. Metacritic score of 35, Rotten Tomatoes 16.
Ooh,
it's not very good.
Really didn't like this one.
Yeah.
Well, it's got the kid from Jojo Rabbit.
Who's the worst in this? We'll go into that in more detail later on. But why are all the title cards so short and cheap looking in these later movies?
Yeah. They don't really
need to save
only
money
one
on the
and two get the decent opening credits, and the rest of them just Home Alone. Then the film starts, and it's awful. My first comment I've written down is yes, Rob Delaney.
This movie has a weirdly stacked cast for some reason.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
It's all that Disney money.
Stolen valor. Doesn't deserve it, frankly. Rob Delaney is great in anything that he does. So
he is lovable in this movie. Because this movie is basically asking the question: what if the crooks in the Home Alone movie was actually sympathetic?
It's a strange one. Keaton Thompson is there as well.
Yeah,
because I don't know Keaton's there.
Keaton Thompson looks good these days. I
thought there's like an orange soda subplot, and I thought, who loves orange soda? Not Keenan, the other one. But yeah, he's there. You've got a few other famous names. Aisling B, the famous Irish comedian, playing an English person with an odd accent.
Vague British.
But it's like, if you have an Irish actress, why have her do an English accent? Have them be Irish or cast an English actress.
It's not that integral to the plot. You could have just said, "Oh, they came from."
Because the accent like slips into Irish sometimes, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's been put on. I can notice that noticeably, and it's like, yeah.
You got Chris Parnell in there for one scene, and then there's voiceover for another scene.
It's weird. It's very odd. The whole film starts off really unusual, actually.
There's one scene with that features the Dean from Community. That's
yeah.
It's all really bizarre.
Yeah.
Then so the film starts, and they're trying to sell the house, but they don't really want to sell the house, but they can't really afford to keep it anymore because the dad works in like physical media storage. And it's now all cloud-based.
He's a data migration manager, but everything these days is run by the algorithm, and
the algorithms.
He says a very harsh anti-cloud approach later on, which I really appreciate. I thought it was funny.
It's weird because actually, the film more or less kind of centers around the people breaking into the house rather than the people living in the house.
They make a nice idea rather than just trying to rehash the same thing that 1 and 2 and 3 did. It's a different technique. And I think it works in some ways and not in others.
Yeah.
So they're selling the house, so they have to sell it up, and then they're having like house the open house viewings and stuff. And we meet our main protagonist, who is Max. I want to say his name is
Max Mercer. I believe
not the Max from the Goofy.
Who might be the worst kid of them all.
Ooh, that's a strong opinion.
Like, I actively hated him in this movie.
Because he's British.
I'm just seeing him as a Nazi, as he was in
Maybe
JoJo.
subliminally it was, but not deliberately because he's British. I just found him really obnoxious and unpleasant. And, he turns up, his mum's there. They go in to use the bathroom, I think, and put like a fake story on as to why they're in the house. Turns out he has Rob has some weird, like creepy dolls that his grandmother used to own, and one of them's actually got an upside down face.
Yeah,
and
it's named Boy with Weird Face or something like that. I can't remember the
name. In the cast.
Face.
No, the doll.
Oh.
I mean, not entirely inaccurate, to be fair. I would take that. That's fair enough. So yeah, they have this whole meeting thing, and it turns out that night they find out the doll's actually worth like a lot of money.
Yeah,
I forget the amount.
Because one thing is
I
that
think it's like over like 6 figures sum.
Yeah, it's like 200,000.
That rings a bell. Actually, it might be that. So they go into the house to find it, and it's gone.
Because they are trying to hide the fact that they are trying to sell the house from their children, and
which is
also
fantastic.
They also get the visit from Rob Delaney's character's rich ass brother, the worst in-laws you can ever have. These
might be the worst character in any of these movies so far. He is
so obnoxious. This family.
He's got funny moments, to be fair. I'll give him. I know it's played for laughs, so I was like, okay, fair enough. I don't mind that.
They're terrible. I would not tag around.
They're like caricatures of like real people.
Yeah. So basically, they believe that this annoying British kid has stolen this multiple $1,000 doll, and they
because they was rude to him in the house viewing.
Thankfully, both him and his mum quoted their full names out loud during the house viewing for some reason. It's really convenient, actually.
Yeah.
So eventually they managed to find out where they are. So they've got a little sign on the front of their lawn that says McAllister Home Security, which I thought was quite a nice touch.
Ah, yeah, they make reference to that later as well.
And I thought, nice little cameo there, thinking that would be it.
No.
So it's not, as it turns out. So eventually we find out that that family's going off on holiday to
Japan.
Tokyo, Japan.
Yes.
Near enough. And through various reasons, once again, they leave the little boy alone because that's how these things go.
He fell asleep in the car while the engine was running. Died of carbon monoxide.
And that comfy BMW car. Like, they're so comfy, these seats. Oh, look at this nice TV screen as well. Oh, what? Oh, BMW. Oh, nice. Get the money in there. Well done, Disney. Well done. Get the money paid for some other way.
I was really proud of that endorsement. The car's is so quiet inside, you won't realise your parents left without you.
I know. In fact, the badge at the end of the thing. Oh, look, you can get it on sale now on credit. Wow. Okay. I love BMW. Thank you, guys.
Can I use my Disney credit card?
So we have the traditional kind of montage of kind of having a good time with weird Scarface references stuck in the middle of it.
That sort of came out of nowhere.
I kind of like that one.
Unusual kind of like adult meta jokes. I thought, okay, that caught me off guard. I was like, what the fuck is this? Why is there a Scarface reference? I was all for it though. I thought that was quite funny, to be fair. That's fine.
They could have that one.
And then we cut back to Rob and his wife discussing kind of do we break into a house.
He's calling him Rob now. Whether it's an actor, I don't know. It's Rob Delaney.
Yeah, it's break into a house and steal our stuff.
The mother being played by Ellie Kemper, which is mentioned.
Who I don't think I know from anything.
She was. I think she was.
She looks familiar, but I don't know what.
She was. I think she's most famous for Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, which I hadn't watched, but I heard.
I've not seen that. To be fair, that's probably I haven't seen before. But yeah, they start talking over. Do they actually go and like rob this house that they know has a doll inside it? Because
technically not rob. They're bringing it back.
They're
breaking into a house. It's not theirs. It's robbery.
No, it's taking back what's yours.
They stole from me. I get to steal from them.
Yeah, but the house isn't there, so it's breaking into what's no. They don't own the house. They own the things in the house. It doesn't really count.
No, but they have that series of events where the other like family that was leaving hid the key under the plant so he could see that.
Do rich folks actually leave the key under the planter like that? And then read out their security code out loud.
Yeah. It was
strangers.
Very convenient way of like, I can sneak into this house very easily. They've practically given me the keys.
1112 for the password is just phenomenal.
I still love that they still forgot the code though, but he actually did.
Rob.
Yeah, so they go into the house and they get caught because they're not really subtle, they're not really built for this sort of thing, and the police arrive at the door. And who should it be? It's Buzz McAllister, played by the same actor.
I mean, it's the most believable part of the film that kid, that the way he behaves, and of course he will grow up to be a cop.
Actually, it's a less surprising cameo because the one screen I saw when I opened this movie, this was fucking Buzz McAllister. I was like, oh, okay.
So this kid hasn't really done a whole lot since Home Alone. Apparently, he was in a Better Call Saul episode at one point.
I've not watched.
I
don't recall.
He was also in Red Dead Redemption 2 as local pedestrian population.
Good for.
Making the
so he's done little. He was in R.I.P.D. as well, the movie.
Oh, nobody wants to remember R.I.P.D.
Which no one saw. So
I
wasn't doing a whole lot at this time, to be honest. So yeah, he makes an appearance, and it's a pretty good one to be fair. I thought it'd be like a glorified cameo. It's like an actual an extended cameo, I think you'd call it in this movie.
Yeah,
like a good 5-10 minute sequence where it's actually pretty decent.
Yeah, he acts well.
So he turns up and he manages to get sweet talked by the wife, and he's sort of, okay, there's no one here, it's fine, and we'll ignore this, it's all good, and he just leaves, just like that.
There's some fun imaginary imagine spot sequences in this movie that's sort of showcased where
it's just like Scrubs.
Yeah, there's this fun sequence where we're actually the kid that says I should probably talk to the cops, and was like. And then imagine the cops locking up his mom for leaving him by himself. It was like, oh, I guess I should fuck the cops.
I should fuck the cops. That's fair enough.
Cops, not good.
So yeah, at this point, the kid now thinks that they are actually child kidnappers rather than just coming to take a dollar.
Yeah,
like Home Alone 4.
It's a standard two parties having a conversation, but they think they mean something else on both sides, sort of thing.
Yeah, you hear whispers and it gets misconstrued some way. So yeah, he now believes that these are going to come to kidnap him and take his sweet booty away.
They tell him to some old grandparents, which was a nightmare. Imagine spot sequence where the Imagine's being trapped by grandparents. That was messed up. I didn't like.
That was creepy. Yeah. At this point, I was hoping to get a Macaulay Culkin cameo at some point after they brought back Buzz.
He was supposed to, I think, but he said no.
Oh man, that's
at least one of the movies he was supposed to, but then it was like, nope.
So yeah, let's throw back after the scene before that where they finally go to this odd musical thing at the old folks home when they're playing bells. to the old folks, and they keep fucking it up, and I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was a really weird scene.
I don't know why it was so funny to me. I just thought it was brilliant. I don't know why. But yeah, so
like, easily impressed.
Yeah, so that they go home after being sort of had the plan ruined by not being very good at burglary, as it turns out, without any preparation. Who knew? So they go off to sort of reformulate a plan, and in the meantime, Max has got his own plans in the pipeline by just doing your usual Home Alone stuff. They bring back the John Williams theme for this one, by the way. The reprieve comes back for the montage music, which I thought was fantastic.
Did he do that, or was it like just remixed?
No, this is borrowed the score.
Oh, so
they have the rights to it, Disney, so why not? They can use it.
Oh, so it's a bastardized version. Got it.
It's the same thing, more or less. Just copied it, more like bar for bar, and just repeated it again.
But they just added some stuff. Like, oh no, it's like the modern version.
Yeah, it's like the same thing, but worse.
Add some dubstep to it.
Oh, good grief. 2021 probably be probably actually be terrible.
Yeah.
More than it already is. So yeah, they set a bunch of traps up. They do the old Mentos and Coke thing that's been relevant for like 10 years before this movie came out. No one does that anymore.
A lot of this film was like desperately like trying to win the. This is like Home Alone for the 21st century. So it's like,
I've written down it can't be too brutal with it being. Because you still actually are kind of half rooting for the family, it can't be too brutal, the stunts, I don't think. Because they aren't like antagonists straight up. They're just kind of, they think they're the good guys, so I thought they can't really be too bad with that. Turns out they are, it turns out.
They get fucked up in this movie.
I didn't think they would do that. I thought they'd play it a bit safer with them being kind of like a sympathetic character, but no, they fucking ruined them. First thing I want to mention is they put like a pin on like, the number 2 button.
That
on
was
the security
gnarly.
thing.
I hated that.
It's like the nail in the foot thing from the first movie. It's like a throwback to that one, but yeah,
I didn't think I thought it would.
Thing.
It's just like you proper like goes right in on.
Like a shink going in. It's like no, don't like that at all. Then you got the VR thing that he falls for.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
That doesn't make any sense, but it's fun.
That's not how VR works. I'm pretty sure you know the headset's on your head, and that you can actually you can see your arms and feet without anything attached to it. But
you also skipped the part where he shot fucking pool cues at the fucking heads.
Not
repeatedly.
Cue balls.
Yes.
Yeah, that thing's savage. The mum calls him a limey at one point. I thought it was a bit on the nose. I was like, ooh, racist that. I wouldn't say limey.
Calls him Harry Potter at one point. I was like,
I know, brutal.
Now I'm thinking of Marvin, like Harry, like, kill the fucking limey.
Yeah. So eventually they go through the absolute ringer, and then eventually they sort of realize that there might be a little bit of mix-up going on here. And then it turns out he didn't steal the doll at the entire point, which is like a Shyamalanian twist, I think, in this one. It's phenomenal.
They actually talk and figure things out. It was like, oh.
I hated the kid. So I thought he did take the doll because I hated him so much, and it turns out that he didn't take the doll. And that really fucked me off.
I was on board with it, but most of the films, like, yeah, you probably would do that because he's shit.
But then I thought, why is he being played as like the hero? He's actually the one in the wrong. But then knowing that he wasn't in the wrong actually brings a lot more clarity to it looking back. It's very clever.
Yes.
Because I was so kind of set in my idea that they were in the right, he was in the wrong, when they were actually both right and wrong in different ways.
Yes. And they both realized that they fucked up massively at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine the loser is the homeowner, coming back to see the house completely fucking ruined. Who takes it pretty well, I think, in the grand scheme of things.
Yes.
So yeah, and then they come back. They have a bit of a moment where the doll almost gets destroyed. Apparently, it was the brother's kid had it the whole time.
Little shithead.
Which is also a douchebag. Who knew, right? It's genetic. It turns out. The doll gets saved by Max. He gets a little hero moment at the end. And then all the Hapleys are happy at the end, and they go to dinner together.
Just to make Max not seem like the asshole.
Bob becomes a cloud man at the end after fighting against it for so long, which is quite nice. I'm now a pro cloud. It's like,
they do like a flash forward to like 1 year later where Max's family and Max's family and Rob Delaney's family just having a fun time together.
Don't know where all the other family members are.
Bonding
on
they're their own shit Christmas party somewhere else.
Yeah, but Matt's almost killed them many times, and they haven't celebrate the fact that they didn't die. That's quite nice. So yeah, and that sort of
Christmas truce.
It's not as movies go. It was pretty inoffensive. Didn't do anything wrong.
I would say it was surprisingly good for what I was expecting.
After what had came before, I had minimum hopes for this.
I don't know how much of just because going through 3, 4, then 5, and then being like, oh, this one's not as. I mean, compared to those, sure.
Yeah, I couldn't take another one. I couldn't do it. I don't think if it was bad, I couldn't deal with it.
What was the Rotten Tomatoes score? Like 60 or something?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. 16 on Rotten Tomatoes.
I mean, if I just watched that film and not seen any others, I'd probably agree. But compared to,
I think a Metacritic of 35 is a bit harsh. I think 50-ish. I would probably take for that.
Yeah,
even the first film that only got like in the 60s, I thought that was quite harsh in its own right. But people just don't like Home Alone.
People just they just hate kids.
Home Alone 2 got 46, so yeah, it's not great. So that's all 6 movies. Fucking thank God.
Yeah, so we're done.
In terms of how do we rank these movies in terms of like the worst. Both from bottom up. That seems only
4
fair.
is absolutely the worst.
It's barely a film.
Yeah,
it's not even like enjoyably bad. I felt bad watching it.
Yeah, I think I put 4 at the bottom of my list. I think I've got like a number score. I've given it 3.
That's generous.
I give it the thumbs down.
Oh
yeah, why? Ebert.
Do not buy.
So after that,
I would say
Holiday Heist.
3.
3.
3.
Yes.
I would have that higher up than second.
Oh, so would I.
I would have Holiday Heist.
I'd say 4, then 5,
and then
if we're going next, I'd say Home Sweet Home Alone next.
Yeah. I think it's pretty close between. It's pretty close between that and 3. It's
the best of the newer ones made in the last 20 years or so. It's definitely the highlight of those movies. It's not really much to go off of, they were pretty horrendous before that, to be fair. But yeah, I'll give that a kind of like a middle one. 3, I'm gonna put number 2.
Really?
Oh.
Ooh.
Yes.
But you prefer to New York.
I was gonna put that on 3, personally.
The reason why is I think that because I've watched 1 and 2 back to back, 2 is so derivative that I cannot give it a pass. It's just I can't do it. Yeah. It's lazy. It's too lazy.
Yeah, but I would still put it above 3 just from the cast alone.
So the way I see it, I watched Home Alone 1 and 2 so many times anyway, and I still find them entertaining. So I still feel like they fit in the top 2 spots.
Yeah,
anyway,
I agree.
But
I tried turning off nostalgia for my answers, to be fair, because that would have been too easy to go 1 and 2 being the best answers. But I thought 3 pleasantly surprised me in how good it was.
It's not bad. It's not a bad movie. It's a fairly serviceable.
I think anything past the last 3 is what you'd call kind of like good movies, I reckon, at that point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 2 and 3 are like just average, but like teetering on okay.
Yeah, I've got 3 down as number 2 on mine. I'm guessing you put 2 down as 2 on your end.
Yeah.
Then I got the second movie as number 2 from my.
What would number 1 be? I wonder.
Ooh,
I've gone for the Holiday Heist.
You really spoke to you.
No, it's Home Alone. It's the first one. It's the granddaddy, the head honcho.
It's a modern classic for a reason.
It's the only. Is it really a modern classic anymore? The film's like 30 years old
It's
now.
probably just a classic at this point, actually.
Yeah, it's sort of past that point now. But yeah, I think it's definitely, you can't really argue with the fact that that's the bona fide granddaddy of Home Alone, that everything's been sort of based off of since then. The sequels have this sort of sequel issue where they just keep remaking the same movie back and forward, and it's never quite as good as the first version. It's like Terminator. You know, you've nailed it once or twice. You can't keep replicating that formula again. You've missed the window. It's gone now. Try something original.
But then again, the Fast and Furious movies.
They're fucking. They don't count.
Well, nothing gets better after Tokyo Drift. We'll do that.
We'll do that next. We'll do that next year.
It's 2 and 3. These are the best
Fast
ones.
and Furious.
Yeah.
The Fast and the
Festive. Festive and Furious.
Write it down. December, Fast and Furious, all 12
Calling
of
it
them.
now.
Fuck.
There'll probably be a new one.
Take it back.
There'll be a new one between now and next year.
We can do a 2-parter, I think, for New Year as well, because that's too many.
It's about family.
So, do we have to we learn anything from this?
Yeah, don't be home alone.
I mean,
Hold it. Hold the cops.
I think my expectations were low on the ones
I didn't need that lesson before watching these films, to be fair, Eric.
I didn't think I would enjoy any of the new ones, and that's more or less what happened. So not really. I've not learned it.
I thought it would be shit from like the 2 onwards, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But I actually found some moments that I quite liked in 3, and I quite liked moments in 6, and I definitely got more of it than I thought I would.
Yes.
Because my hopes were like rock bottom. I finished 4 and 5, and I wanted to kill myself. It was I couldn't deal with it. It was horrendous. I'm gonna bury those memories in a box somewhere and chuck it into a lake and never ever see it again, because they're just waste of time. But given the option, that I would watch 3 again.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't mind 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely positives to take from that. But,
I rented it when it was.
If someone else like was watching it, and I wouldn't. I would probably carry on watching it. I won't.
Or in the background, I would sit down and
that kind
for
of
10 seconds. Yeah, there's like background noise, the ambient stuff. Yeah,
you could instead watch Enemy of the State. Same movie.
It's the same movie. It's the exact same.
Enemy of the State with kids.
I think I've ran out of things to say about Home Alone. I can't talk about Home Alone.
We've talked over 2 hours as it is.
Yeah, this is a long one, boys.
I will not watch Home Alone ever again. I'm gonna bury it. I'm just gonna forget.
I'm gonna turn it on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it after we're sitting recording this episode. I'm putting it right on straight away.
Marathon.
Before we clock out, maybe we should share what we're doing for next time.
Home Alone games. No.
No, fuck you. Never.
So, with a lot of Batman stuff going on, we've got new movies, new games, and of course the passing of the late great Kevin Conroy. We are going back into Batman Arkham Asylum to see how that fares up. So that's going to be quite a fun one. I
thought
think
you were going to say the passing of Kevin McAllister.
Why would you say that?
That's why it's not in 6. He fell for his own traps, the poor sod.
Oh no.
So yeah, we'll be diving into that.
Oh, that would be a brilliant Batman. Like, riddle me this, Batman. What does a trap something? I don't know. He's like the trap master.
Have him be the Riddler, Macaulay Culkin. That would be an ideal casting choice.
Alright.
Well, they did the Batman. Have him be him in the Batman rather than playing than Paul Dano. That'd be a good fit, actually. I think I could buy that.
Oh, you didn't like Paul Dano?
Oh, I like him, but I like Macaulay Culkin more. So
yeah, because Macaulay Culkin was in Red Letter Media videos.
So yeah, we'll dive into Arkham Asylum. I reckon we'll be in for a far better time than we are for this episode, to be honest. So
I'm all right.
Hopefully, if not, I'm going to be really disappointed. That game was like my childhood growing up. So if it is, I'm going to be fucking mortified if it's not. But yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Fuck Christmas. Bye. I hate it.
You filthy animal.
Happy New Year.
Oh, Jesus. Oh.